Shut up and sit down.
I'm totally gonna go vegan this season.
My mind's on fire, so I ride my bike. I'm riding harder than a hurricane. Love is
You shaved your legs? Does shaving your legs really make a difference? Man, shaved legs make such a difference. Look at that guy with the hairy legs.
I saw the old you for a second there. My mother made me.
You are listening to the Dial Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. Optional listening required.
And get that runner's high.
I'm totally going vegetarian this season. Eating is cheating, man. I think protein's really gonna help me out in my season. Hey man, do you have a gel?
That runner's high. Babe, I think I found what it means to be alive.
Do you guys have some lube I can borrow?
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Turing, and I'm here with Lance friggin' Hepler, who's back in town.
Friggin' Hepler, who is back in town. I made it. Here I am.
I like your jacket.
Thank you.
Those carry jackets are really nice.
Look at my T-shirt.
Ooh.
Gravel beef is why I'm vegan?
Are you still vegan?
I am still vegan.
You're still vegan? I
Yeah.
didn't know
For a
this.
long time.
This is a joke
Gravel beef is why I'm vegan.
that Yuri Hoswald came up with.
I like it.
Yuri sent me this T-shirt.
Oh, really,
Is
huh?
the gravel beef the
gravel-
like those guys aren't working in the pack? This is the gravel
and
beef.
everybody else stopped at the aid station, and those 5 guys skipped it. So there was this big gravel beef. There was this big
Gotcha.
issue in gravel.
That's such a niche joke.
yeah.
It is such
It's a gravel joke.
Like a Mac goes
That's
to
Yuri.
Is there a gravel
Yuri's
joke?
calling in.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's like,
Yuri's-
that's not how the joke went.
this is why I'm vegan, is because of gravel beef. But
I like that.
It's not why I'm vegan, and Yuri's not even vegan, so it's just a joke.
It's funny.
It's very inside.
That's
I like
a
it.
hilarious
That's
joke.
it.
To friggin' Hepler's left, Evan Price.
All right. Well, I've already stolen Matt's Spindrift, so we know that that's what I'm drinking.
Okay.
Hot take: the lime flavor from Spindrift is by far the best lime flavored drink in the drink
really?
Is
game.
it too sweet?
But I really like
No,
lime
they're
flavored
all
things. It's very lime.
I'm weak.
Very
I'm weak.
lime.
They are weak.
That's who's weak.
They're
I don't want a
weak like
hint
your
of
Achilles.
lime.
That's it.
I want.
Achilles. You know what's funny? Is my Achilles, they look at it all the time with ultrasound and stuff because they're like, what's going on here? I'm going to fix you. I'm the
gonna
one that's
fix
gonna,
this.
And they're like,
I'm the one
your
that's
Achilles is actually really strong. It's all the crap around it.
You're like, thanks
It's
for
your tendon
nothing.
sheath.
It's not helping me.
Yeah. Like, well, I can't do anything about the other stuff. Your Achilles is actually strong, Lance.
All right, I take it back.
Last but not least, Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys are looking okay today. Everyone but Jake is looking fine.
What am I looking like?
Too many doctor's appointments.
Yeah,
just
too
like
many
me.
doses.
That's true.
Just like me. I just got. We're kicking off late because I was at a doctor's appointment that took like an extra hour than extra
This
hour
is-
more than I
running the
expected.
mill.
This is what I
That's
have
normal.
to deal with on Mondays now. I come in here and it's just one of you is broken or just saw the doctor. And then I have to hear the joke of like, oh man, 31. Wait till you're
Wait till you're. It is.
Wait till you're
for,
40.
For
wait
40.
wait till your fill in blank age here.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
40 was like a light switch for me. It was just like you're turned off. You're done.
Something's broken always now.
You're always hurt.
I know I get out of bed and I'm like, what? That doesn't work right
Like,
anymore.
this is
What
why-
happened?
Don't even look at the stairs. Don't
This is
even.
why I just need to bring Manda in here with me so that he can
He's
just roll
the-
his
he's like
eyes
the
at
old- the
everything. He's
healthiest
I know,
40-year-old that we've-
He's 41. I think he's 41. He's actually
he's
the
up there.
healthiest guy at that age I know.
I'm healthy. I just everything's falling apart.
You
You know,
guys are all healthy. You guys are crazy healthy
if
compared
there were
to
a
the general
theme song to my
population.
life, if there were a theme song to my life, it would probably be.
You're done?
Oh, the ending song.
It's all finished? It's over.
Now, you guys, if you look at the, I know Lance worked in the medical field long enough. If you work in the medical field long enough, you would look at you 3 guys and be like, you guys are doing awesome. Like, great.
That's what my doctor was like.
You
He was
guys
like-
are crushing it.
He's like,
Trust me.
You're doing,
Yeah.
you're exercising an hour a day. You're doing great. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm falling apart.
It's
like-
you
falling
don't
apart.
understand.
The problem
He's
is
like,
that
"Let's
your
poke
guys,
you.
your
Poke you some more."
guys' baseline was too high. So you guys were really fit at one point in your life. And the concept, we only compare, like nobody's ever like, No, I like to compare myself to when I was at my 50th percentile. No, everybody is like, what, Lance, your vertical is 39 inches.
It used to be 39 inches.
You're never touching
now
that again.
It's
9.
3 inches.
It's amazing how fast you start to lose things. I mean, I can still
Vertical goes
make
quick.
a bike go fast. I can still ride hard. I can still ride fast. But all of the other things, oh my gosh, it's just too much.
Yeah.
And it all happened like within like a small window of time. Like just a couple of years, it's like the wheels fell off.
Well, I think it's kids. Kids just take that energy from you. So once they're out of the house, I feel like you'll just have this rejuvenation all
They
of a sudden.
suck the soul out of
Yeah,
you.
they
That's the
suck the
question
soul.
is, does it come back or no?
No, you just
You're done.
adjust.
It's slow.
You just change.
Because it's like, think about this. You have these babies and they're like, oh, they don't sleep. And then they keep not sleeping. And that's just
Yeah.
all you. And then it's like all of a sudden
then-
they're 20 years old and you're like, well,
And then,
I'm
and then
screwed,
they
I
end up
guess.
hating you too. So you're like,
And
oh,
then
it's
they
okay. I
hate
just
you.
committed my whole life to you. And then they're like, I hate you, Dad. And then you're like,
Like, glad I spent all this time. Glad I dedicated my life to this.
I have to go to therapy because I hate you, Dad. And you're like,
You ruined everything.
Hey, how about some backpedaling?
Mike, I can be quick.
Go.
Well, actually, cross country state championships this past weekend. I don't know if I'm allowed to say how I feel about it.
well, just go hot
Come on,
take.
man.
None
Hot
of those
take,
people
hot
are
take.
listening to this.
Hot take.
No, that's true. Girls got 5th place. They were ranked 7th. They ran great. Guys team struggled. Struggle bus was real. There was like 4 out of 7 kids were sick, and they were ranked about 3rd and got 12th.
Every kid is sick right now.
Oof.
It was
Wait, they got
That was a
12.
poor performance.
Were they
was
sick or
brutal.
were they party sick?
Oh,
They were no. They were sick, but that's one of the things is they struggled to. They would know that I would say this, so if they listen to this, it's fine. It's just like they struggled to listen to their coaches, and when we tell them they should be trying to get good sleep at night, that's not something that they're ever going to consider, and they should not share food with each other when they're sick. And by share food, I mean like a leather strip thing, like eating one. You eat one side and I eat the other, or a
Lady the
Twizzler.
Tramp style
Makes
there?
sense.
Yeah.
Lady in the
Makes
Tramp
sense.
style. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you do realize he's sick.
By the way, I've been coughing all day too. Hope you don't get what I just got. Yeah.
Or like they'll be wrestling and then they'll be like, all right, we gotta do our workout, guys. Oh, I'm not feeling well. I'm like, what?
What are you doing here?
Why are you here? Oh god.
I feel like I should go wash my hands right now.
high school
And I'm
kids.
not sick.
High school kids are fun.
That's fun.
They
What are you going to
fun.
do with all this newfound time, Matt?
I'm gonna try sleeping. I've heard it's popular.
Nope.
People have told me that it's a good
okay.
idea.
Recruiting for the cross country team. That's what he's going to do.
That's true. I got to get on the
Oh,
Fight faster, boys.
East African.
did you boys get an
recruitment.
extra hour of sleep on Saturday night?
That was
great.
gorgeous.
It was amazing.
It was like
I still woke up at the same time.
So you guys didn't get up at 4:45 instead of 5:45 instead?
I
Okay.
woke up at something like 6:30. Okay, well, I went to bed at midnight because we got back at midnight or whatever. And I woke up and I was like, I looked at my watch and I was like 6:30 and I was like, please, I wish I could sleep in. I really wish. And then I like walked out and saw the kitchen time. It was like 7:30 and I was like, hell yeah. Really good job sleeping in for me. That was really, I was happy with myself.
Nice.
Proud of myself there for a minute.
Right on.
Just for a moment. Just
well
for that one moment.
One glorious moment.
That's my back pedal. Good. Done.
Done and over. Moving on.
Boom.
Price.
I swam a lot.
Did
I
you?
biked a lot.
Yeah. How many, like, are
Ran
you,
a lot.
like, are we talking, are you going to
Not
be
a
like,
huge
I'm actually
change in
proud of this
volume.
guy across the table from me
I'm
here.
doing everything the coach says.
He
Outside
is
of
listening
I
to his
do-
coach for the most part, I think.
I've
We're
already
like-
been called out a couple times on. I still have. I had to address my. I always hate talking about it, but like I do have. I think a very undiagnosed. I would never want to diagnose in any way. A low form of OCD
Yep.
that I do believe.
this is,
My mom listens to this. I think I inherited it from my mother.
Uh-huh.
She's gonna hate that I'm even saying this.
but here's my theory on this. I think as an endurance athlete,
I think it's bred into you in a certain way.
I think it's like, so I was the opposite of OCD or whatever. And then you start like tracking your running mileage
Yes.
and it almost like,
OCD is a bad term for it. But it's a compulsion. I just
Yes.
say it develops compulsions. OCD is a
Yes.
very particular diagnosis.
Sure,
I always want to be very clear with that.
yeah,
But
we
it's
shouldn't,
like-
we shouldn't belittle that by any means, but
No,
at the
because
same
I know
time,
people who
yeah,
are truly OCD
for sure.
and it is a crippling
But-
disease. Yeah, but that's
But the compulsive part of it,
yes, there are
is-
compulsive behaviors.
It's almost like the sport, encourages it or dwells
It does.
upon it, or
it does. Yeah.
and that can be dangerous for runners that don't eat or
Yes.
whatever it is. Like there's just lots
Yes.
of reasons
Or
why
they
it could be bad.
chronically overtrain and all of that.
But I used to obsess over like weekly mileage. and
I
stuff.
was-
It's great.
oh,
Had
yeah.
fun. I loved it.
And
How
that- and
long
that
ago
was the
was
same
it
way.
that Evan was telling us, oh, I got to get my
Have to hit
total
26
volume.
hours.
I got to hit 26. I got to
26
hit
hours.
27. I got to hit 30 hours.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Gotta
have
hit
these
26.
big, massive weeks. I'm going to
Yes.
do all
That
these
was
things
4
and
weeks ago.
crush.
That was I'm a different man now since those 4 weeks.
4 weeks ago, you've grown as a person
in the last 4 weeks.
and withered as an athlete in the last 4 weeks.
Exactly. So what I had to realize was that my results were not clearly reflecting the amount of training I was putting in. I was putting in a lot of hard training. It's not like I was training 26 hours a week of like, hey man, keep it pretty zone too. Like there was a lot of hard work
stuff.
in there. I was failing a lot of workouts. I was sore all the time. I was very tired.
You had found a decent balance.
Yes.
I thought.
I was on the razor's edge of close to tipping over, but I'd really found a good balance of how much volume I could shove into my life.
When your job switched, you had found a decent balance
Yes.
right at that point, I thought.
And I'm as fit as I've ever been. It's just Elliot's doing a very good job of holding me back just enough to where my recovery's feeling a lot better. And that showed with, yesterday I did a huge day, even though on the surface it doesn't look big, as it was a huge swim workout that had almost 3K of like race pace work.
5K total?
5K total, yeah. Yeah, just a ton of work in this set. Rested for a little bit in the afternoon, got my coaching done, and then went and did a 16-mile run that had 4 by 14 minutes at race pace. So just a big day,
volume,
and woke up this morning and actually feel fine. He's just holding me back just enough to where I'm not doing. Because yesterday, if it was me doing my own coaching, I would have added a 90-minute ride on that because I wanted to hit 14 hours for the week on the bike. But now hitting 12 and a half, I feel better today. No reason for me to have done that bike yesterday. And I'm now starting to realize, I'm like, that's where this is valuable.
Let me ask you a question. So wanting to hit, wanting to hit that 14 hours, is it because you want you to see 14 hours on there, or because you think that somebody might be magically looking at you and say, oh, that Evan, he came up short by this many.
So what it really was, I would say, is triathlon in this little niche pro world, which I have to realize now is like 70 to 80 guys looking at each other.
Tiny.
It's a tiny little world.
Yeah.
And it's 70 to 80 of us looking at each other, and everybody loves to puff their chest out and be like, hey, man, I just put together 3 good race results, and I will still train 26 hours that next week, 28 hours every single week. And you hear it in these guys, like in the Kona interviews. And they're complete BS, because now I race these guys and even know some of them. And they'll be like, it was a big training block, 30 to 35 hours a week. I'm like, no, you didn't. I know that guy trains 25 to 28 hours a week. 30 to 35 sounds better, but he's including stretching and his random lifts in there and that one commute bike ride in his nap. And that gets him up over 30 hours. And he's like, but everybody loves to puff their chest out that. So I knew
meditated for 10 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, I did my 15 minutes of yoga in the morning, which definitely counts too. Yeah. And that's like, it's just realizing that there were some really fast guys that were really honest about the actual training time they're doing. They're like, yeah, I train 21 to 22 hours a week usually. And I was like,
I think the Norwegians are awesome about, I don't think they really describe hours that much, but I like their...
They don't even know the hours they train. I know that somebody had asked Goose, he was like, I'm not sure. They just do the training. When they need rest, they rest. And when they can train hard, they train hard. So I just
I'm enjoying their attitude about, they're pretty forthcoming about their training, and they do big volume.
And they don't
do big volume,
lie too about their training. I've realized historically a lot of guys really embellish and then lie about their training, or they're not lying and then they overtrain and end up in these chronic injury cycles. And that's where I've realized for me, it's like my only focus is next year. If I could train 16 hours a week and get better results, I would do it right now. I don't care as much about what does my volume look like. So that's been too many years of my life I've been focused on what the volume looks like.
You were at 26. Where is your coach thinking?
24 right
24,
now.
So just trimming out 2 hours a week?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, just a little trim.
Well, it's nice. I think the thing that seems to be smart is like the swim focus.
Yep. That was going to be my next thing
Swim's the
too.
first workout of the day.
Yeah.
And I have 3 key swims a week right now, like big, hard swims. And it's fine because he just tells me, he's like, you're just going to be more tired on the bike. He's like, I don't care. That's,
It's fine except for it sucks.
Yeah.
Those swims are
hard.
I think it'll help if you...
They're mentally very hard.
I think it'll help if you have... Not that I'm going to be helpful, but I think if Josh comes and does some stuff...
Having people there
just
is huge.
They don't have to do the whole thing with you, but just so that it'd be ideal if Josh did the first half and I did the second, something like that, where it's like you have someone the whole time mentally just to take a breather. Because those are long days.
Mentally it drains on you. And that's actually the tough part in swimming is that swimming's obviously hard, but really top end swimming, once you're into how these guys, especially the ITU draft legal guys train, and I'm just getting a taste of the type of sets that they'll do. Physically, the unfortunate thing is physically you can make it through these sets. It's that constant mental battle of like, wow, I really want to stop this right now. Like, I really want to stop this right now.
You're staring
have
at
to
a black
keep on
line.
going. Yeah,
You're staring at a black line.
You're like, this has been 45 minutes of staring at this
And
black
it's
line.
like,
I'm going crazy.
and it hurts. It's like that
hurts your brain. It
it's
does.
just
yeah.
not-
Especially
yeah.
when you're trying to learn to swim better, because I have to stay pretty focused the whole
Are
time.
you? Did you do any like filming and send it off to the coach?
Yeah, twice already.
You and Josh did that together.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And
Well, at least you guys have together. At least they have each other to work with.
That's true.
Exactly.
Nice.
It's huge. Cassie's been a little on deck coach for me on Sundays. She'll watch my
Oh
last
man,
set. And
she's
correct me.
good too because she actually
is.
knows what she's talking about.
Oh,
Unlike
and she knows
unlike
what I
this
suck at.
circle of people.
But I get so much advice from this circle of people.
I know.
We're
It's all
giving advice
crap.
to each other.
We
We're
are
Full of it.
It is advice, but it is crap.
We are so good at giving crap advice to each other. We're all just
Sweet. Yep. You want to backpedal, bud?
Sure, I put in a massive 3.5 hours last week.
Nice.
Oh, you had been doing pretty good before that, though.
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm okay. I was traveling. I went to Southern California.
How's your back been feeling?
It's been fine. I've had
You can drive for-
Southern
no
California
issues with it.
does wonders for that, I've heard. Yeah.
I did do a ride in Santa Barbara. I did like a 30-mile ride around Santa Barbara.
I
And
probably went
I think
there.
I saw
Did you
Instagram.
ride on the water, like
did.
along the water?
Rode along the waterfront
Yep.
and then up Toro Canyon to Montecito.
Yeah, I know, right? Yep.
And then along Montecito and
beautiful.
past Oprah Winfrey's house and
How's
Ellen
Oprah doing?
DeGeneres' house. She's fine. She said to send her love to you.
Okay.
Matt.
She probably misses me.
She misses you.
I know. It's been a while.
So I did this really nice. It was like 75 and glorious there in Santa Barbara.
God,
so
yes.
How far did you go that day?
it was like 30 miles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Then I went down to Orange County, Laguna Beach, and
Oh, I
Dana
saw
Point, and
something
San
about the
Clemente.
hotels. The hotel that you stayed in was nice. I don't know.
I was at the Ritz Carlton for a couple days.
I tried to
in
be
Dana Point.
sarcastic.
Wait, is that where the conference was? Was in
at
Dana
the
Point?
Ritz. Yeah,
I
Dana
thought you were
Point.
down in La Jolla for some reason, but
No.
Okay.
Is that owned by
Maybe that
Motel
was a different
6?
time you went down.
Yeah, it's the same. It's a Motel 6 chain. I try to post comments on stuff sometimes, and I'm like, this is really snarky.
Oh,
but
what
maybe but
Oh,
it
it was
also
hilarious.
reads like if you don't know that I'm joking, then it's like, oh, this guy's just an a-hole.
He's an a-hole. What an
Which is true, and also, but I'm trying to be funny.
but trying to be
Segue
funny.
directly into our.
Is Matt the a-hole?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I got to come up with my.
Yeah, you gotta come with your thing. But yeah, I did. I was at a conference for a couple days there at the Ritz Carlton in Laguna Niguel.
How out of place were you?
Nigel.
Oh, dude,
Niguel.
you see, I don't even know how to say it right.
Yeah. You probably mispronounce it. They're like, get this guy out of here.
So this was
Did you
an
feel like you had to like change
an
your
investor
beard
meeting, right?
situation?
I had to clean it up just a little bit. This was an investor conference where
yeah.
I'm one of the investors, and there were people presenting their opportunities to invest, and you had to be an accredited investor even to get invited to this. So everybody attending was
So they were there
was
for
vetted.
you.
Yeah,
They were there for you.
Correct. There was about 100 people like me
Yeah.
who were there looking at
Just
different
listening.
investment
Yeah,
deals.
totally.
And so, yeah, if I want to show up in a T-shirt, I could because
you're that guy.
I'm that guy.
But
I had to
actually,
like pull out a nice shirt, and I'm like, "Is there wrinkles in this?
Isn't
Do
this like a-
Is this gonna? Yeah, this.
I
will work.
like the
Yeah.
idea of.
Isn't it like an Instagram reel thing when they're like, how really rich people dress or
Yeah,
whatever?
that's
It's
right.
like
And they
always
just
way
don't
more
care.
relaxed. Yeah, you're like,
I think the thing is, if you showed up in a T-shirt and whatever, like people actually might seek you out a bit more. Be
Yeah,
like, that's the guy I want to work
I
with.
want to talk to that guy.
Absolutely.
That's the guy I want to work with. I don't want to work with the guy in the suit. That,
And then you would make all the other guys feel very insecure because they're like, crap, he looks really relaxed.
Oh
He
my
looks
God.
so much more
I
relaxed.
can take this or
Yeah.
leave this.
that guy doesn't care.
I don't
want
care.
him.
I want that
him.
guy.
I heard he rides bikes too. Did you
Rolls
hear that?
up in his kit. Yeah. Helmet's still on. Glasses on his helmet. Yeah.
I did. I snuck out to do a ride one day and rode down to San Clemente and back, and that was fantastic. I mean, I had like a 30-minute window to go ride, and so I went and rode for an hour. So I was just I was just completely late to something.
Yeah.
But
Show up with your helmet still on. You're like, what I miss? Okay.
well, I didn't shower. I showed up in my van. Right, it's in valet parking. You can't even get into the valet lot. I had to have the valet walk me out to the van so I could go get in my clothes and ride
hilarious.
away on my bike.
God, you were so out of place.
Oh yeah, it was just funny. I was like, "What am I doing?" But that's the reason why I can do this stuff is because I've done a few investments like this and it's kind of worked out. So it was a great weekend.
Would you ever go and live there?
Southern Cal, there's too many friggin' people.
Yeah.
The weather is
Oh, it's amazing.
it's amazing.
I know Jake
that
already knows,
part
but
was
yeah, it's
great,
like-
but there's
yeah.
too many people. And like finding a beach for the dog to run on, that was not easy.
Nope.
Really?
Because they're all private, or if they're not private, you
crowded.
can't have dogs on it, and your dogs can't definitely be off the leash because they might chase away the
Did you
snowy
go to like Huntington
plover.
Beach or something? Is that where you guys ended up going?
No, we were in Laguna Beach, and along Laguna Beach, there's a stretch of like 3 miles where there's like 10 little coves. And we just went down to one of those coves that were more or less private, but they
Let
had
her off leash.
public. Yeah, and nobody. She wasn't supposed to be off leash, but she didn't bother anybody, and she.
I think the only that I can think of, if my memory serves me correct, the only dog beach that you can actually take your dog and let him go off and play and do all the fun doggy things is in Huntington Beach, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of fun because the dogs can go out there and socialize with each other, and nobody's really going to care. But
there was one in Santa Barbara that was a dog beach.
Okay.
And we went out there, and there was.
I actually saw that beach when I was riding because I remember I rode
you
by
go
and there
right
were
by
a
it.
ton of dogs there. Yeah. Beautiful beach. Santa Barbara's beautiful.
surprised you didn't get
great.
chirped at by an OC Karen telling you can't do that here.
Yeah.
So because they're all over the place there.
The one private beach, no, but Brandy took Piper down to the beach right next to the Ritz Carlton, and it was a
Get that filthy dog out of here.
And she went all the way to one corner of the beach so she wouldn't bother anybody, and Piper was just having a good time and not bothering
Somebody
anybody
jumped on
or
a
anything.
gator and rode all the way out
Somebody
to you.
like walked a half mile across the beach.
Sounds about
to
right.
say, hey, there's like endangered birds over there, and I hate to have your dog actually catch one of the birds and kill one.
Sounds like they were being nice the way they phrased it.
And Brandy just like gave her the double bird and said,
Here's your birds.
Here's your birds, baby.
Yeah.
she didn't.
Missed
No,
opportunity.
what she should have been like is, he's already gotten 7 or 8 of those.
Oh,
Is that what that
feels
was?
Bad. I'm going
We've
to
been
take him
coming
back
out here
and eat
every
him for
weekend
lunch.
for the last 2 weeks just for dinner.
So, of
How
course,
many of those endangered birds were left?
I get the reason for it environmentally and all that, but it only took an hour for somebody to finally say something. To
They're
her.
down there in full force.
Hey, if that bird can't escape a dog, sorry, bud.
Circle
Piper,
of life.
of
course.
Circle of
Survival of the
life.
fittest, baby.
It's your own fault.
There's a reason that's an endangered
It's
species.
natural selection.
Piper's a bird killer.
Yeah, anyway. But Piper didn't catch any birds, and
that's
she,
nice.
she was put back on the leash for the whole walk
She's
back.
like, what'd I do wrong?
Yeah, what happened? I don't understand. Why am I on the leash? There's all
I thought I
this
was being
sand
a
to
good
run
dog.
around.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Poor Piper.
it was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so you're back for a week-ish?
No, like 3 more days.
And then you're out.
Where are you headed to?
I'm headed to Europe.
Oh, yeah. I forgot the
Yeah.
Europe trip's
Wait,
coming
3
up.
more
Yeah.
days?
I leave on Friday. So that's 4 more days.
Okay.
And I have like 500 things to do before then. You don't have time to be sitting here talking to you idiots.
Then we're taking our sweet ass time.
We're going to take 4 hours to do it
I was planning
anyway.
on just sitting here
I think
for
there
a
might be a
while, yeah.
bit of a weather. I can't remember when the weather's going to break. Soon, I think. In the next couple of days.
Hopefully
Maybe we can
right
get off a
when
ride.
you leave, and that's going to be beautiful.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sweet.
We'll see. It's going to be cold.
It's going to be cool.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's supposed to get cold and snowy, maybe.
There was a chance of snow.
Depends on where we are.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
My kids are like, if you even think, like, if there's like a 5% chance of snow, they're pretty sure it's going to to
Yeah, 100%.
They're getting their sleds ready, and they are like, we are not going to school.
There's no school.
They are pumped.
That's fun.
I love it.
My back pedal real quick. I rode on the trainer.
Ooh.
Yeah,
At least you're getting some in.
I am. Yeah, I 7.5 hours I think last week. So
nice.
just added on my usual 10%, and I'm gonna try and get up to about 8.5, maybe 9 hours this week. So I'm slowly getting back.
that's
The
good.
legs feeling a little bit better, and we've been doing all of our stuff on RGT, which has been fantastic. We did the team ride on Tuesday, which was a blast. We had a good group there, and the group is growing. And then I have not missed one of those Thursday morning rides in over a month now.
Wow.
That's
Nice
pretty good.
work.
So
Thursday morning.
5:30 in the morning.
Ooh, that's okay.
I've
guys.
missed every single one of them.
Me too.
Me and Lance will be missing that. Yeah. That's
I've been getting a couple guys that have been joining me too, which has been kind of nice. So it's been fun. We don't
We
talk
had
to
a-
each other, but
I think I remember. Was it? Oh God, it was last year when me, Nate, Guy Van, and Josh did a 4:45 a.m. Thursday ride. Just back when I was with the clinic, I remember that it was just 50 minutes of basically all out. Nobody talked.
Oh, really?
Just zero talking.
hour and a half.
No talking.
Yeah, 5:30 to 7 o'clock in the morning. We've been getting in 30ish miles and having fun doing it. So, and then I think that's about it. Nothing spectacular though. So
It's getting chilly here. It's raining a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, it's freaking atmospheric
is.
river.
It is.
cold.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
This is-
that Friday was.
we had our time. We had our block of sun.
My
over.
daughter's
gone forever now.
playing in her fall season playoffs, if you will. It's called the Founders Cup, and they're the top seeded team. And Anyway, we were out watching soccer, and for whatever reason, both of their games were scheduled like after dark this past week. So it was cold, and we were sitting out there, and it was really cold and rainy. And got up this morning, and there was it looked like snow on the ground, but I think it might have been hail. It's been crappy weather.
48 here is like so much colder than 48 just in any dry climate. Like just the dampness here makes 48 feel so much chillier. Yeah, especially once the sun's gone.
Interesting. So that's been the other thing that I've had going on was lots and lots of soccer, which is fun watching the little guys and gals play. So cool. Do we want to talk to
Bailey?
Oh, is that Champ around?
There was a lot of traffic.
Did anything
here.
happen? Did anything happen, Champ Bailey?
I have no clue, to be honest with you.
Guys,
he
was at the Ritz.
I was
okay?
at the Ritz, and then I was driving.
Champ Bailey was at the Ritz?
But guess what?
I feel like
he'd be a good
investment.
Oh, God. I was trying to remember this. Who was the other cornerback across from Champ Bailey?
You got to know this
for this
stuff.
couple years. I should
How do you
know
not know this?
Fox. It was somebody Fox, wasn't it?
That's funny.
I don't remember, man.
We should know. I think it was somebody Fox. Anyway, I'm that guy. So Lance's Champ doesn't know anything about cyclocross world. I didn't watch any cyclocross.
Oh, I do know what happened.
Cool
now.
triathlon.
Okay, forget that. I'm going to talk about cyclocross first. We did have.
There was some awesome triathlon going on. The World Championship at Half Ironman.
We already talked about that.
Oh, you guys did?
Last week.
Well, you didn't talk about Bermuda because that happened yesterday.
Oh, no, we
IT
didn't
race
talk
in
about
Bermuda.
that.
Vincent Lewis, the king is back. And then Flora Duffy dominated the women's race in her home country.
Yes.
Won by minutes.
And how many times has she won that race?
Many a time.
All of
Flora
them.
doesn't lose that race. She dominates that race.
Yeah.
Taylor Nibbin second, held off Beth Potter. In the men's race, the two Spaniards were second and third, running crazy fast 10Ks. To win that race these days, you have to run under 30 minutes for a 10K off the bike, which is
what?
It's ridiculous.
Oh, the triathlon world at the top end right now is getting. I can't wait till 10 years from now where the Lance Armstrong documentary is going to come out, like Lance Armstrong-esque, where it's like everybody was doping.
Yeah,
I'll be like, why wasn't I on that? Who invited
How come
me
I
to
didn't
that?
know about that?
I didn't know that was going on.
Oh, jeez.
It was terrible.
In cyclocross, we did have the Pan American Championships. I mentioned a few months ago that they were going to hold it in Costa Rica. That fell apart. It was not in Costa Rica. They ended up adding it to the really rad Festival of Cyclocross in Massachusetts. They added like a third day to do the Pan American Championships, the UCI Championships. American Eric Bruner won on the men's side. Fantastic. He won last year, so he repeated as champion. And on the women's side, Caroline Mani, the Canadian. Is she Canadian? I think so. She won on the women's side, so that was kind of exciting.
That's not fair. I bet a lot of the Central American guys weren't able to make that race then, were they? Was there a lot of Central American guys that made it?
How many Central American cyclocross races do you think there are, Evan?
I mean, I can think of
There's seven.
zero.
There are seven, and they didn't make it.
I can think of zero.
Felipe Nystrom
There.
is from Costa Rica.
Yeah.
But he lives here in Portland.
Is that it?
That's it.
Is that literally it?
No, I think there's like three.
Is that why they were trying to put it in Costa Rica? Because they're like, we want
Felipe
drum
to
up. No,
to
just
do
drum up
this.
some interest in Central America. On this.
I think they were trying to just.
Well, they're doing
make
fine
it
on
cool.
the road. I mean, a lot of Central America is pretty darn good on the road, and then also South America does great on the road. So
South America is different than Central America.
well, I know, but I'm saying that part of the world.
Yes.
I'm saying, yes.
We're too close. Stay on target.
I don't know what else happened. The European Cyclocross Championships happened. I think Van
Belgian
Tarenhout, won it.
I do know that,
on the men's side, and who won on the
While
men's
he's looking
side?
this up, Dre Bly.
Dre Bly.
That's the name of the quarterback.
Yeah.
You were way
Yes.
off.
Right across from Champ
Yes,
Bailey.
you're right. Yes, gotcha. Dre.
We also had our cyclocross championship races for Obra this last weekend at Bridge City Cross at Oaks Park. It was an absolute mud slog. Paul was telling me that there was one racer in a 45-minute race recorded 13 minutes of running in a 45-minute cyclocross race. It was so muddy. There were many sections that were completely
You're running for almost a third
of it.
the race. That is bonkers.
Yeah,
You would have fallen apart, dude.
I would have
Isn't that
fallen
where you
apart.
hurt yourself? Was Bridge City?
It was the final straw last year.
Yeah.
Was Bridge City, and it wasn't really that muddy, but there was a big, long sand section that I just like powered through twice and then ran it 4 times. And after that, I was like,
let me ask you an honest question.
brutal.
Let's say that you're totally healthy and you're going to go out there. Is that kind of a race where you're running for 13 minutes in a 45-minute race? Is that actually fun for you?
oh, hell no. No, that is not
This
fun
is what
for
Matt
me
pictured
at all.
cyclocross actually was going to be, and it turns out it's not.
Why do you,
but-
is there a bike involved? Then
Yeah.
just
No,
leave
seriously.
the
It was a
in the
bike
pit
pushing
there.
contest.
Let's say
not a
that
bike
you
I
are
ride.
the
thought you
likes.
just ran with the bike next to you most of the time.
Yeah, do you even
kind of
need to have a
cross-country?
bike with you to do this race?
Oh, the bike would slow you down, I would think.
I mean, could you theoretically
Cross-country
pack up like
spikes.
That would be hilarious.
Like a little carbon frame
on
and-
how rough that course
and
was
put it
is
on your
actually
backpack or something like that and just
throw
run it?
Yeah, just like throw on spikes, cross-country spikes, and see if you're faster through the course.
Yeah, it would not.
Some of
be
those, I mean,
faster.
you think about those really fast cross-country runners, like true D1 elite kids are running 5-minute miles through there on a really rough, muddy course, which means they're going
What's the distance? Yeah, we should do.
they're going 12 miles an hour.
You're not in the mud. They're going like 7 miles an hour.
7 miles in 1 hour. Oh yeah,
Dude,
The
just
runners
throw
would crush
across.
that.
Oh my God, yeah. The cross-country kids would win.
Runners would crush that.
Yeah.
Easily.
So if you
Nope.
technically have
Even
to have a
in bad
bike there
weather.
with you, what constitutes a bike? Is there a frame and wheels?
If
Do you have
it's
to,
taken apart and
does
strapped
it have
to
to
your
have
back,
all
that
of
counts.
the parts and pieces? So if you take it
I bet
apart
there's not
into
a
like a
roll.
little tiny little backpack, put some straps on it, cinch it down on your backpack and say go.
Would it, you,
Take a
is there, there's a
12-pound
rule that you have to have a
bicycle,
bike,
too,
right?
like
Make it
lightest
lighter
bicycle
than
you
that,
can.
yeah.
Yeah, make it 8 pounds if you want
You
to.
could
yeah.
even make it a
Yeah.
kid's bike that's
I
made
have-
out of carbon fiber that weighs
I have
nothing.
a rideable
That's
bike.
my
I
bike.
have the pizza cutter that is a bike.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, like you just grab that and just hold it in your hand.
I have a keychain that's like a bicycle.
Like-
Yeah, all of you shut up.
I'm sending all my cross country kids to the next cyclocross race.
Be like top 10.
100 kids. Good luck.
Once and
Right.
for all proving that running is better than biking.
The elite race was won by Ian Brown, the 18
came back into town, huh?
He came back into town. He must have been in town for something. So he's been on a development team for Trek, and so he's been having a great year. But he came back and
Was he in the one who
raced-
did the ridiculous Everesting when he was like 15 during 2020 or when he was super
No.
young?
No, I don't think that.
I
was
know
him.
his name
I
has
think that
popped
was-
up before though.
No, he's
Sanders.
legit.
Ian
in the-
Brown's
Oh, I know
legit.
he's fast as heck. But
He
yeah.
actually won by like 2.5 minutes on this course. He beat Henry Nadell, who is like a pro mountain bike racer, and he beat him by 2.5 minutes on this course, which is pretty great. Paul, our own
kid.
Paul, he won the 2-3 championship, so he won his championship race.
Got himself a jersey.
Got himself a
Nice,
jersey.
Paul.
So,
Proud of you.
Paul. He said he had to ford a small river too to do it.
I was like,
well,
Yeah.
so part of the course went into the Willamette River, and the Willamette River we're in Portland. We're close enough to the ocean that it's affected by the tides. And so
Oh, God, tide was out.
the morning
Yeah.
races, the tide was out, and there was a big section of the course that was, totally rideable. By the last race, the water was about 1.5 feet deep where you rode through. And Paul said you could notice every lap it was raising about 2 to 3 inches per lap. So you would come back there and you're like, this water's deeper at every lap. And I think they did 6 laps or 8 laps or something like that. So that's kind of funny to see.
Sweet.
Other than that, that's it. Champs out.
Boom.
We're all good? Awesome.
Yes.
No, yeah, we're good. We're good. We're
Yeah,
moving on.
it's
We're moving on.
Yeah. If we already talked about St. George, we don't need to talk about anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, Lance, Matt talked about that last week,
talked
so
about
we're all good there.
you know, I always crush all my triathlon
I
news.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Some people were fast and
Shocking
stuff.
news. Christian is still stupid fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cool.
Gustav was less fast.
he had to take the day off.
He had a rough day. Yeah.
Let's do a Patreon drawing.
Yep.
Is this the music for Patreon drawing?
It is
It is
now,
now.
'cause that's
Oh,
the
nice.
button that I pushed. So, all right, we're going to do a quick Patreon drawing. If you win this drawing, you get to come into the lab and pull something out of the old Patreon bin and see who's going to be this week.
You can get anything you want from the lab. Bikes.
You get to go to
There's
Matt's
a-
house
Matt is
and pick out
sponsoring this, yep.
anything you
There's
want.
a Wahoo treadmill that looks nice. You could take that home.
Our Patreon winner for this week is Rob Buck.
Oh, Rob Buck.
Rob hasn't won in like almost 12 minutes.
Isn't
So
Rob
we're gonna.
He's
Rob,
won.
come
He's won a
on.
few times in his
Rob
day.
Rob is the car doctor, isn't he?
No,
He's from Seattle, I
No,
think.
I'm pretty sure
right?
he is. Isn't
car doctor.
I think so. Rob Buck.
I don't think Rob Buck is the car
You
doctor.
have no
Never
idea what
mind.
I'm talking about.
I might actually here. Hold on.
Well, anyway, if you want to become a Patreon, you can go to downpodcast.com, click on the Patreon link, click on a Patreon level that best suits you, and we'll put you into the little bin here to win prizes and whatnot. So Yeah.
Thank you, Rob, for being a Patreon.
Thank you, Ron, and everybody else who has been supporting the show. We really appreciate that. All right, let's move on while Evan's doing his stuff.
Yeah, what are you doing? Looking up something
He's
important?
looking
Oh,
up
no,
Rob
that's
Buck.
Rob Russell. Never
Rob
mind.
Russell. All right, so I've been conflicted with this one. I'm not sure how this works. We're going to have to do a little bit more research on it. Lance tried to look it up beforehand, and he popped up some stuff on his web browser that
Lance has to delete his
it was
cookies now for his-
inappropriate.
yeah. He's like, dang it,
After you
should have
erased my
used
iPad.
incognito on that. But
Brandy, we promise that was not a purposeful search from Lance. He was.
there is a little website app thing called Reddit, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of.
We should talk about Reddit. Reddit is actually fantastic. Any topic
Great
that you're
topics.
just interested in, you can just follow. It's actually really good.
People tell ridiculous, terrible stories on it.
Terrible rabbit holes on Reddit.
That's
It's
true.
great.
all
it is
kinds of
great.
reviews
It's
and
wonderful,
questions are
yeah.
answered.
A lot of the companies that I follow, I follow their Reddit threads, and there's just good detailed stuff in there. It's really good.
yeah.
And
So,
I hop on and try to answer questions sometimes.
so it's funny because
God, you're that guy.
Not good.
You're
I don't
that
do it.
guy, yeah.
Well, I'll ask if that's a good thing to
Somebody's
be.
trying to ask a funny question on there, and you give like a purposely like detailed answer.
Like I'm trying to be funny. Where's the sarcasm
Okay.
font?
they have a topic thread or something like a, I don't know, we'll call it like a, I guess a topic, an area of Reddit that they
Reddit
use.
threads.
Reddit thread where they ask a question, and the question is generally started out by, "Am I the asshole?" And I've been
AI, what is it?
AITA.
I had to think about it too, Lance. I wasn't going to get there quick.
AITA.
Yep.
AITA. ADA.
Ada,
Ada.
whatever. Am I the a-hole? Whatever.
Am I the A?
I don't know. We're trying to keep the show clean and PG and all that other stuff. I don't know where the word asshole falls into.
If
So
anybody
if
has
you're
a
hearing
big
ice cream
problem with
sandwiches,
us using it, that's okay. Just write us a letter, send
Yeah.
it to the lab,
But that's
and
what
we'll
it's-
make sure to throw that in the
that's
trash.
what it's
No.
called. And,
Put it with our others.
Yeah,
commonly
with
known
our
thing.
other comments and concerns.
What's funny is I asked Evan and Lance this question, like, have you ever heard of that before? And both of them are like, huh? They've
heard
never,
of it.
and it's been around for a long time. Matt walks in, oh yeah, I've known about that. So
Well, at first I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, that is a good. I don't actually follow that particular thread because I try to keep
Matt
the
frequents the dark corners of the
dark
interweb
interweb.
frequently, so he knows all
I
these
know
things.
the dark
Yeah.
corners. Yeah.
sometimes it's one of those things though, where there's like this thing that happened to you, or this something that you've done, or a question about something that you want to do, or whatever, and you're not sure, am I the bad person here? Did I do something wrong, or am I a jerk for doing what I did or saying what I said? So they go there and they post in this part of Reddit, and they'll tell their story, and then the community chimes in and lets them know.
They're usually horrible questions. It'll be something like, my husband wore the wrong shirt, so I cheated on him 7 times. Am I the asshole? He wore a different shirt. Like, the questions are like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, close this window.
Yeah, it's a
My
quick.
kid yelled at me today, so I gave him away. I mean, am I the ass?
What am I going to do here?
He was a jerk.
What am I supposed to do?
So anyway, I just thought that this would be kind of a fun little topic for us to do, to either
It is a
go
good idea.
pull something from there if you want to read something and whatnot. That seems to be like a popular thing that people will do. Will like kind of read the stories, and then they'll give their own take on it. And you'll see that on the likes of the old TikTok or the Instagram reels or whatnot. People are posting that kind of stuff up. It's just good entertainment. So the guys, we're going to run around the table. All of us are going to run around the table, and we're going to ask a story or tell a story, and we're going to ask the question. We're going to be the judge and jury. And if you want to chime in and let us know what your thoughts are on the old social medias, wherever we post these things up at, we'd like to hear from you too. So
So is it just asking people to call us assholes? Is that
Yes.
what we're doing?
Pretty much.
Chime in.
yeah,
Look,
Right.
let me be clear from the very beginning. If you're asking yourself this
You are.
question, you are. You already know. You probably are. Otherwise, you wouldn't even ask the question.
Especially if you're
But
bringing it to Reddit. At that point, if you're,
I got a couple to think.
I got a
now
couple
that
too.
I-
you
Okay.
know that answer
Yeah.
already.
okay.
who's going first?
I think
going
Evan
first.
was the one that popped off, but
I did, yeah. I
Matt,
know-
Matt's
I know
got his
Matt.
hand
Let's
up
go,
in
Matt.
there, so he's
No,
kind of
whatever.
Matt
Let's
hit
go
the
counterclockwise. Go, Matt.
Matt hit the buzzer
Okay,
first, so he gets to go.
All right. So yeah, I
Yes.
remember this is
Yes.
going to be bad. This is going to be bad because there's a 50-50 chance this person like listening on this to our podcast.
I hope that's the direction all these are going.
So we show up for a ride, time trials type stuff, and we line up or whatever, as we sometimes do at this particular ride, which we won't name the name of the ride because it's just going to hone in on who this was.
I know which ride you're
And
talking about.
they're like, I think they had headphones in. And I was like, it's probably better if we don't go headphones on this one, just because we're riding in a pace line and we're going hard or whatever. And they said, no, this really helps me stay with the pack. And I proceeded to move to the front of the group and go as hard as
And
I
drill
could
it.
for about 3 minutes, knowing full well that would be the end of this particular rider's day.
Did the music help them stay with you? how the music help with that?
He was immediately dropped.
Gotcha.
Oh, you just narrowed it down to a he. All right.
They.
That's
They.
That's
They
51%
were
of the
immediately
population
dropped.
eliminated. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. If I get around somebody that is not riding very safely, I do kind of the same thing. And if I don't want to be riding behind that person, I will either purposely stay in front of them or go to the front and try
But
to
this
drill
was
it.
like this
But
was like
are
we had a
you-
conversation
You
about
had a
it,
conversation,
and then I drilled
and you
it,
still-
and this was like so here's what we do. It was this was am I the asshole? But we do our warm up, and then after the warm up is when I think we said this, and then it's like we're gonna go hard, and that was like immediately when I went. It was no question what the situation was.
Has this person ever given you?
I don't know if
pause
it came back after that.
Has this person ever caused you concern before when riding with said person over, maybe poor bike handling skills or a little erratic or unpredictable?
This has been a while since this has happened. They were fairly new to all of this.
Were they on a TT bike?
I don't remember. I think they were probably on a road bike. Maybe they were on TT bike. I don't remember.
But it doesn't matter if you knew or not. If somebody comes, I mean, it should be easy enough to know, like, hey, I should have an ear to the world, but
I mean, I don't think it was not an unreasonable request.
You were not the jackhole in that situation, in my opinion.
No, let's not go that far.
Your tone of voice, I'm sure, was because
I was nice, and then I think when the answer was like, no, I'm not going to do that, I think that's when I switched over to a-hole mode.
But sometimes it's okay to be an a-hole, and that would be a situation where I would vote it was okay to be an a-hole.
Meh.
My thought is that yes, you were the a-hole.
I think I was, yeah.
But I understand and probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, unnecessary a-hole.
I think everyone that I tried to go and then try to bring back some people,
But the damage was done at that point.
Oh yeah, damage was
Was
done.
anybody at this table here with you on that ride?
Does this ride go to Vancouver?
No,
Lake?
well, I mean, I don't think anyone. You
it on
could have been
Monday
there.
afternoon?
If anyone, it would be you probably.
Yeah. I think I know what ride
We all
you're
know
referring
that.
to.
We narrowed down to who
So-
this was even.
Yeah.
If you're this person, call in next podcast, please.
Write me a letter. We'll post it.
We'll post it in the trash.
Go to
can.
Reddit and say whatever you want about Matt LeGrand.
Yes.
What's your Reddit handle, Matt?
It's out there, and you can find it.
Go
So-
comment on every single one of Matt's YouTube videos.
I'm just curious to
Yeah,
know,
sure.
if you saw me wearing headphones, would you say the same thing to me, or are you going to assume that I've got enough bike handling abilities and know how to safely fit in there?
If you were wearing the Jawbone conductive headphones,
Yeah.
I would not say anything to you. I'd be like, "This is
But Lance shows up wearing his noise canceling
yeah, like
earbuds.
his-
Look,
I wear-
does this.
right now,
Yeah.
Lance has headphones on. If he had those on, I would definitely. I would just
Wait,
try to drop
wait,
you.
were
Try
they,
to drop
were they
you,
headphones
but you
like
couldn't.
this?
It would be funny.
Were they
I'd try to
big
drop you.
headphones?
No, they
I was
were
gonna say-
in.
That would be hilarious.
They were in
Earbuds.
two in-ear earbuds. I think.
Okay.
Like some Jay
Well,
Birds
this
or
has been
some.
a long
So,
time ago.
so
Okay.
Very
I
hopefully
ride
it
with a
doesn't.
decent. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like I know Josh will ride with them. David Goodman will.
in ear two.
Yeah,
Double
but,
down.
but only one always, and I think Josh has the just bone conduction one.
Yeah,
so
I
he
wear the
can
bone
hear,
conduction all the
because
time.
Because I
Yeah.
can like me and Josh will be riding together. I'm talking to him while he's got those in, so
Yeah.
we can hear everything going around him easily.
But you're also not like time trial.
Yeah, it's a
like
different
basically like
world.
team time trial, like lining up
I would
behind.
never put in headphones in that
You
situation.
would very rarely do like drafting with a time trial bike. That would be very rare for you.
I don't trust people enough around me on their
Right.
teams. I've seen too many triathlons to trust that many triathletes around me.
And normally I would say we put this guy in front because we know he's not going to last that long. Again, it's a guy. We put that guy in front and we know
Let's
he wouldn't
just
last
throw
that
it
long
down.
anyway, but he would be able to stay with us as long as possible if he if we kind of nurtured the situation.
But instead, he lasted 30 seconds. Not
No.
even that. 15
Oh, wow.
seconds. Boom.
It was immediate.
It
Like,
was
I
immediate.
probably, I mean, for me to say drill it, I probably put in 500 watts for 30 seconds and then settled into 300 or something.
Yeah.
But that was enough.
Okay, so
oh yeah, that's gonna drop a lot.
I
of
wear
pounds.
AirPods on almost every ride.
Yes.
But Jake, what happens immediately when I get with the group or if I connect with you and we're going to ride together?
You you either take one or both of them out.
I take them both out.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Oh, you take them out. Actually,
I take them out.
Shut them off. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
I don't even
isn't-
turn them off. I take them out.
I don't want people to think that this is like a I'm anti-headphones thing because I don't mind. I mean, I want you to be aware of your surroundings because I don't want cyclists to end up dead. But at the same time, like I listen to music when I bike. Like I'm all for. I try to do. Some sort of music that's not like blocking out everything because I do think you need to be able to hear.
Just do one in, one out.
Or whatever. But
or
I
just
also
have your left ear open to the road.
But I think the situation is slightly different when you're in a pace line, especially on TT bikes. It's just a sketchy situation all around.
I don't ever wear
the situation.
I don't ever wear them in a group ride.
Yeah.
But I wear them every single time I'm riding solo. And I'm usually listening to a podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Unless I'm doing intervals, and then I will listen to music because it helps.
Yeah.
But,
I'm the same way.
Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, I think if the person is a novice rider or you don't know them well enough or they just give you some reason to take pause and you're concerned about them affecting you or somebody else in the group, I don't think you're being the a-hole. I think that that's perfectly acceptable to say. I mean, you can say it in a tactful way, and if they're just going to blatantly tell you no,
That's my thing.
I think that's the thing.
They said no. Now, so reverse situation where I do think you're the asshole is if you don't say anything to that person, and they are novice, and let's just say don't know.
yeah.
And then you do it.
and then you just tell everybody around like, hey, we're dropping this jack wagon, and you just
Yeah,
jump on
I
and
agree
go.
with you.
Then you're the a-hole. But you went up to him and told him.
just like
so no,
just
I don't
like
think you're the
you
a-hole.
will often like get into a group ride or whatever it is. Like let's say it's the flogging ride. You're like, we kind of do have some rules for this ride.
Yeah.
Like we're not mean about it. We're just like, this is kind of like
rules the road.
Yeah.
Like here's what we think is the right way
Don't
to do it.
blow a stop sign
And
for
then
no
when you
reason.
see someone just like blatantly, or someone's just, if you were like, hey, we don't blow through stop signs, we stop or whatever, and someone was just like, no, I need to do that to keep up. You'd be like, I mean, you might have some
500 watts. coming
yeah,
at you.
like
exactly.
I'm not hanging out with
86.
you.
Now the problem is, what if the guy is super fit and you can't drop him? Then what do you do?
Like
I
he's
have
like
had
Lance.
that happen. There was a guy I
Lance.
was riding with. I didn't want to ride with anymore, so I went to the front and drilled it. Didn't drop him.
He's too fit.
Yeah.
He was too fit. I'm like, okay.
But
It's
then
a
you
problem
just do the
when-
opposite. You just drop off the back, right?
Yep.
I mean, you just
When jackholes
those
have
are your
really high
choices.
FTPs, it's a tough situation. That's a real tough. You gotta have a coordinated team attack on him.
I still think I was the a-hole in that situation because I could have been. I think I could have been nice, right? Like I could have still
I think you're
But
fine.
what was not nice about that? That's
you're
my question.
fine.
I mean, I think it
dropping him on purpose.
well, yeah,
that's
but
what's not nice.
you asked him nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was nice until I wasn't.
But what if I just always try to drop people on purpose? Does that mean I'm just permanently an
That's
asshole?
for
Right?
fun. Yeah, it's fun. Good times. No, I don't
But
think.
we like you, Matt, so we're going to stick up for you in this.
This is
in
true.
this,
yeah, what's the name of this segment here?
Am I?
Okay,
Asshole.
run around the
Answer's
table
always
then.
yes.
I mean, you've heard enough.
Right,
Unless you have
right.
any other follow-up questions, and then you guys say whether or not you think Matt's the a-hole.
Okay, final. I say no.
No,
Yes.
Wait, he is? You say yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Lance, come on. Okay, Jack.
I'm going to say no.
There you go.
I don't
I
think you're
agree
the
with
a-hole
Lance.
because you don't either know enough about this guy or you have reason to have concern. And I think that the inherent nature of time trialing on TT bikes,
It's partly dangerous anyway.
on open roads and there's variables. I mean, I've seen people on said ride crash.
You know
because,
that ride,
Yeah. And
Now, I agree. It was the right thing to do,
yeah.
but it was still
an a-hole move.
Still an a-hole move.
It was. It totally was. I could have probably. I don't know how I probably could have like ridden next to him and been like, I'm not going to ride near you because you're going headphones, and I mentioned before like we don't suggest it, and I could have found a nicer way to. I don't know. I'm sure there's a nicer way to make that happen.
Okay, so and what if he did come back and say, "Okay, I appreciate your concern, but I'm still going to wear them because it helps me stay with the group." And you're like, "Okay, well then we would just."
Basically, what he said. Yeah.
Well, I know, but then you could have easily just said, "Okay, well then we're going to recommend that you maybe find a different group to ride with
yeah.
because it's just not safe." I mean, if you just have rules,
Hit
and,
the road, man.
and
Hit
are those the known
road.
rules for that group? Were those things conveyed to other people?
Roadie,
Are there other
jerk off.
people wearing headphones?
And
No one
cuss
else.
him out
No
and
one
you
else would wear
puncture his
headphones
front
during that ride. And I don't think it's an established rule like written anywhere. But at the same time, like that's. I mean, not that I'm a leader, but I'm not in charge of that ride. But like I made it clear,
Dude,
like
we are way too nice in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
I,
you know
I
what?
grew up on military dude run rides where if
Yeah.
somebody was like, "No, I'm going to keep him in," like somebody might get hit. Like
Yeah,
at that point,
I think
like,
in California, I think it's actually illegal now to ride with headphones in.
probably.
I I gotta
I
double
think-
check
I
this.
think
I think
Ohio had law against
that
that
rule
too,
went
yeah.
into effect in like 2020 or
That'd be
something
an
like
interesting
that.
one. What states have a law against it? That'd be an interesting one.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Look that up.
But they helped him. The headphones help him stay with the group. He told me.
And then he got
did
dropped.
not.
For 4 seconds. Didn't work. For 12 seconds.
It's weird. I thought
Nope.
the headphones would up my FTP by 60 watts.
Would you have said anything, and would you have done anything different had he been wearing bone conduction headphones?
Oh, I would have been fine
Was
with
that even a
it.
thing
Okay.
at that time?
Yep.
Well,
Was this
they
long?
might not have existed at that time, but if they did, I think it's important. Like I'm all for like, hey, I do agree. Like music does help you stay motivated. Like,
Sure.
It does work. Like they've done studies, and actually I find this really interesting
Yeah.
that they help improve performance. Like caffeine, like all this, stuff. Like if you listen to music at a loud volume, it will help your performance. That's why I don't understand why when they had that closed marathon course, they should have been blasting
I
music,
agree.
and they weren't
Yeah,
doing
for
it. I
sure.
was like, they could have broken. That was the original one, so they could have broken 2 hours. But anyway, back to your question. If they're your open ear, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
It's just a safety thing, right?
Yeah, I don't think you're the a-hole. I think that what you did is perfectly acceptable, and you very well, like, what if he'd stayed with you, and what if he'd caught us in an accident because he was wearing headphones? He had his head down, he was drilling, he's got his music blaring, and didn't hear somebody say, oh, slowing, or
It's
whatever,
safe.
and he drills in the back of somebody.
Or safety for him too, like with
Yeah.
the car situation
Sure.
and stuff.
Sure.
Oof, I don't know.
Yep.
This guy's going to call in for sure if he
I
listens to
know.
the podcast.
He
He's
might.
so mad
He's-
right now.
He is.
It's like, God,
possible.
Matt LeGrand.
He's gonna.
that guy.
I'm sure he would remember that,
That
too. Like,
guy.
oh yeah, that's why I quit going.
I
with.
went and disliked all of his YouTube videos now to screw up his
I
algorithm.
know that guy. He's an a-hole. That's probably what that guy's saying right now.
Not the asshole. Moving on.
Okay.
Evan, your turn.
That was definitive. Okay. Iron Man has
Asshole.
raised.
Iron Man's an asshole. Iron Man Corporation.
On to the next subject.
So we all complain about Iron Man all the time. So why not continue this?
Yeah. I know what you're going to ask.
So
This is a great question.
I was all over triathlon social media the last, I think it was Saturday, Sunday or whatever. In our little niche corner of triathlon memes, I was getting reposted a lot because I had a conversation with Iron Man. Her name is Jennifer Tilma, who is the pro coordinator for Iron Man. A really strange title for somebody that does next to no support for the sport, basically. Jennifer herself, I'm sure, is a wonderful person, and actually somebody who will respond to my emails.
She's just paid to say no to
She
everybody.
unfortunately is in
Podcast listener also.
Mission. Yeah, exactly. She is in Mission
Not anymore.
Impossible of trying to deal with people asking her for help in situations that she has no control
Yeah,
over.
that's the truth.
So, Jennifer, if you're listening, you're a wonderful person. I'm sure me and her have actually had very good communication. But Iron Man decided to raise the pro yearly membership by $350.
Yeah. It's
It
like
was
$1,000 up to 13, basically, something like that.
Yeah,
Based-
up to,
I mean,
no, so it was like 800 before.
Okay.
So a massive increase.
is a
In
big
case
increase.
anybody doesn't know, there's also randomly some people who have been commenting on things that were posted on social media about this, because this was a big topic over last week. Even the top end guys were posting about this because of this price increase. And they were saying, they're like, well, that's still a good deal for you guys. What people don't seem to understand is that there are people that do this for an actual living. Like, I am not that person. I race people who are not that person.
They are poor people.
Yes.
Like Ari's a perfect example,
Yes.
right? Like,
there are young guys in this sport who deserve, in my opinion, a chance to make a living off of this sport who are not given that chance because of how Iron Man manages their profile.
I love how I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one.
Please
I
do
love
on
it.
this,
I love
because
it.
I understand how this is going to come from a business point of view. I completely understand that. But anyway,
Yeah, but-
so
but-
I
yeah,
sent
okay.
I sent an email to Iron Man after they did this price increase, and I contacted a bunch of pros that I know and said, "Hey, let's all send a similar email. Are we going to get attention? Who knows? Probably not. Iron Man doesn't care. But this is ridiculous, because a lot of the guys I was messaging, yes, we have jobs, good careers on the side, plenty of income to make this happen. But what I don't like is the pros at the top continue to turn a blind eye to the fact that things like PTO and Iron Man don't actually give a shit about pros under that top 100 or outside that top 100. If you're going to build your sport, I mean, could you imagine if the NBA was just like, we don't really care if you're starting five. If you're not, like, we're going to charge you to actually be in the NBA. Like, come on. Like, we don't care about you guys. You guys can find your own motels for travel to and pay for your flights. It's just not a good long-term model. Unless they just want to have 4-person, 5-person races. That's fine. If that's what they want, I will gladly go back to
Or
amateur racing, and
0
my life
person.
won't change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to harbor pro racing, you need to, not that it should be everybody gets paid the same by any means, but you shouldn't be charging the people in this sport who are like 23, 24 years old coming in who have the talent to be a professional and need the support. If you want your sport to be actually inclusive and have, I'll just say it, poor and minority kids actually have the chance to maybe have a living in this sport.
Did you put that in the letter?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
I said they're exclusive and literally only white rich kids can do this sport now.
Nice.
That's literally what I'm saying. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. That's exactly what it is.
Sure. I mean,
so
we're looking around at like multiple $1,000 bikes, right? It's like everything is,
and they have no support for
priced.
travel. So I sent this on an email respectfully because me and Jennifer have had back and forth on emails before, and she sent back to me. She's like, "Yes, I understand the frustration. Just so you know, Ironman has raised the prices because of WADA costs, the drug testing agency internationally, and housing of pros." Okay, so
housing of pros.
Thank you. She also said,
okay, maybe.
She also said in 8 years they have not raised their prices for the pros, which I hate to say, but I was like, Jennifer, that's a lie. I actually have the receipts. That's not true. So that one was not true. I posted up and a lot of guys reposted saying, we want to hear how many pros have actually been drug tested. We had amateurs saying from Kona that they had been drug tested in Kona. And more mid-pack pros saying in their 7 or 8 year careers, they had never been tested.
Wow.
Yeah,
never been tested. We had another guy posted, he won multiple 73s, and in the races he won, he did not get tested.
Ugh.
So if WAD is increasing their prices, we said $350 per pro. We're like, okay, the frequency of testing is not increasing. Does that mean that inflation for WAD is just out of control right now? But and housing, by the way, we had Max Newman respond and say Max Newman, who won, I think it was Bustleton in Australia. I mean, Max Newman was one of the fastest guys in the world. He was fourth in Kona. The year he won that race, asked for housing accommodations, and they said they couldn't supply it for him. So like, okay, if the dudes winning the races aren't getting any accommodation, then who is? And just so I basically sent an email back to Jennifer saying what we just I said, this is becoming a very exclusive sport.
Yeah.
I understand that you have higher ups to respond to, and this is out of your control, but we need to come to the table. I said, I'd be open to coming to the table and just giving a point of view on why this is no longer affordable for anybody who is not absolutely in the 1 percentile of the world income-wise. Mm-hmm. And just the travel for these races, if you're not going to accommodate for the pros at all, you're going to basically become a very exclusive sport. And in today's climate, that's not going to look good for you guys. That's going to look very bad. So, yeah.
Do you think that she was like,
stern.
Was she like, I'm going to move this to a special folder where we keep track of all of our,
all the a-holes?
It's just like a trash bin.
That's the trash folder.
She just sends me back some like block email. That's
Thanks.
right.
Thanks,
Thank
Evan.
you for your concern.
We move this to our most highly respected folder where we
I
take
printed
all
it
of our
out
complaints.
and then I put it in the bathroom right next to the toilet paper there. And we're gonna don't worry, it's double ply.
Okay, so are you the asshole for sending that email?
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't know if we're going around in a circle or
Go for
what,
it.
but I think that
I
no,
was stern
absolutely
until
not.
I did not
because
cuss at her.
you should. First of all, I think you would probably her surroundings and the fact that she isn't going to be able to do anything about this because she has she has an odd job where her company is doing crap stuff and she just deals with it.
She just has to be the one who answers angry emails, basically.
And
unfortunately.
Now, if the question is like, is Iron Man being an asshole? Then I would.
That's more the core of the question, not Jennifer. Jennifer's a wonderful person, I'm sure. But
then I think the answer is maybe not because.
Give me the devil's advocate.
Okay, because inflation is real.
Sure.
And they are raising their prices, and pro athletes now have a choice more than ever with which races they choose to do. And PTO, they are eating Ironman's lunch on the general consensus overall on where the sport is going.
The only reason that people are still going to Ironmans is, and this is the great question, because I do know people are like, complain about it while you're still going to them. It's like, yes, because unfortunately where I live, Ironman owns the pro races. That is a reasonable travel radius for me. Now, next year I'm doing 2 non-Ironman pro races, and I'm going to keep on working more and more into my schedule.
But here's the thing. Ironman and PTO are not making all their profits on the pros. They're making them on everybody else.
PTO
on the age group.
That's
PTO
the Ironman business model.
Yes.
That's the Ironman business model.
The PTO has
Absolutely.
recently decided to open their races to non-pros because it was just pros.
Okay.
Yep.
And that was...
PTO is also funded by a billionaire.
Yes.
That guy's a multi-billionaire. So it's
it's very interesting.
He is not making money off of PTO races, I'm sure.
Not
I'm
yet.
sure.
But
not
that was,
yet.
that was
I hope
our
he will one day.
original question was like, how long can the PTO just bleed money?
Probably for a while.
And the answer is like, and they're doing
as long as he's interested. Now that's the problem.
What he made last month to
that's
fund it for 2 years.
How much
so
does he like triathlon? Is going to be the question. Because as soon
obviously
as he
enough.
wants to, but I'm saying like that's always the question. Then is
Right.
if he's not making money off, at some point he can just be like, this isn't a great investment. I'm gonna pull my money.
He could fund it for the rest of his life and not even feel it and die, and it's like it never even happened.
It's like $50 million a year for him, and he's a multi-billionaire.
But the thing is the great news is if Ironman continues to screw over their pros, which they will, and they have done for a long time, but it's their choice.
Yep.
It's just so great for the PTO.
It is.
It's just like constantly like, oh, they're screwing over their pros again.
Yeah.
For the third time this week. Like, how good does the PTO look when they're
and
just?
Have you seen? So PTO's posting, and also there's a race called the White Lake Pro-Am, which is put on by a guy who actually races in the pro field. He has him and some buddies are doing it together. They had the race last year. They had Trevor Foley and Andrew Starkowitz go there, and Trevor Foley won. This year, they're trumping it up, and they've been direct with their marketing. They're like, tired of Ironman? Like, come and race this race. And all the mid-pack pros I communicate with, everybody's like trying to put White Lake on their schedule. They're like, we're going there. Everybody's going to go there if they can.
From what I've seen, it's just like you'll be being interviewed by Ironman at some sort of Ironman event, and they're just like, yeah, man. Well, the PTOs, we got to go to that race because that's where they have money. They're taking care of the professional triathletes. They're doing all this and that, and there's like the money goes super deep. And it's
Gustav said that in an interview at St. George with Ironman. He literally was like, "Yeah, but if I'm like fourth here, I can go to Dallas and win and make like twice as much." He's like, "Why am I here?" Like literally, he's saying that like in an interview with Ironman. He doesn't care. He's like, "So you guys aren't paying me anything?" Yeah.
He will
he's
never
like, pull
have
the
to care
plug
again.
on me. I don't care. I'm going to go to like
just out of curiosity, did they raise prices for the amateur races as well?
Yeah,
so
but
across the board,
but not equally. It was the pro increase was pretty significant.
That's a huge increase.
I mean, you're going from what was it, like $850 all the way up to I think it was $1250.
Would you be okay if they didn't raise the pro fee and raised all of the amateur fees to cover the pro fee?
Absolutely.
All companies should have.
Come on.
I feel like all companies should be able to make the call on their prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, 100%.
Unless
the
you're a
consumer should also be able to
monopoly-
make the call and say that
Unless you're in a monopoly situation where it's like, or it's some sort of like greater good situation, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, you just raise fuel prices on everyone. It's like OPEC, right? I mean, like let's just call a spade a spade. They control the pricing of oil.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's fair, but whatever.
I think the problem for the pros is that we have, in my opinion, inherently it's strange that we have been paying for an Ironman license. I get it because Ironman's only income is from, well, I mean, like they have some merchandise income, I'm sure too, but the bulk of their income is their business model based off participation. So anybody who shows up to your race, you would want to be paying and you need to be making money off that person somehow. Mm-hmm. The problem is this company uses our likeness and builds up energy around these races like Kona off of the pro field. Yep. Also, you're calling us pros. Mm-hmm. So if you want to call us pros, it's comical that you're charging us to race as professionals under what? Your employership? I mean, is that like...
But these are just bad business decisions.
Oh, it's just bad. And this is why, I mean, like, I know, trust me, I've read many a comment from age groupers where they're like, you guys are spoiled and all this stuff. And I'm like, look, the funny thing is buddy, a lot of us have jobs. And I know guys who race pros who have jobs and kids. We just do it much faster than you do and commit a lot more of our lives to it. So you should feel lucky that you get to come to races that cater to you as an amateur like that. Could you imagine if the NFL or NBA was like, hey, day before we're playing pickup ball, $50, show up, pop in, you get to play on the pro field over here. That's the equivalent of it. Mm-hmm. But age groupers, and I know Lance's going to hate me with this, middle-aged age groupers have such an entitlement around that sport for a long time. I grew up around triathlon for a very long time. My mother, this is part of the reason that she, I think, also left the sport to some extent.
How do you mean entitlement? Like entitlement for what? Like,
well, I mean, like I see people cuss out like aides, like aid, station people all the time. I mean, there's just this entitlement sport. People who yell at each other in transition because you're not giving up enough space. It's like, look, this is
those people are a-holes anyway.
I know they are. Those people are probably the a-holes in the no, you guys are both wonderful. I'm saying there's the 5% that ruins it for the 95%, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
But I'm saying is that those unfortunately are the a-holes that seem to be the loudest.
They're loud.
And very entitled in triathlon. Like I've never seen that in the running world when I've been in running. There's a difference between those two. You can see it in
pro cycling and stuff. You can see it in cycling. Or not pro cycling. You can just see it in cycling.
And amateur cycling. I think, well, I mean, we had the podcast not too long ago where it's like, why does road cycling get this this what would be prejudice or whatever stigma against like, hey, you guys are kind of like a-holes at the elite level or whatever of amateur. Triathlon, unfortunately, I do think has close to that. Maybe it's not to the level that cycling is. And then to me, I always saw running as some of the fastest runners I remember, the nicest, most chilled dudes. 100%. Never would go to a marathon and be like, do I get free Castells here? Oh, I don't. You guys suck. And just like post up on Yelp.
Screw you, aid station.
1 star on Yelp. Yeah, exactly. I asked for Gatorade, Linda. God, no. But it's it's those guys that then look at this situation. They'd love to put their whole 3-paragraph comment on this, saying like, you guys shouldn't be complaining about the raise in price. The reason we're complaining about the raise in price is there are young pros who are objectively struggling in this sport to try and just make it to races.
Yeah.
And now you just raise the price and you have no accommodations for them. So $350 for some of these kids is actually a lot.
It is. It's huge.
It means something. It does.
It's a big increase.
And that's why I'm saying it's this elitist age group attitude of like, oh, it's just $350. You guys are still getting a deal. It's like, yeah, for you, bud. Like you do wonderful in your career. That's
how many
not
people
the case.
Have the moniker behind their name of professional Ironman triathlete?
Probably in North America, I would say between male and female, maybe 120.
Yeah, that sounds
probably right.
Yeah. Okay, so in the grand scheme of things,
let's say at most.
It's not a huge. I mean, it's a fair amount of money, but it's not a huge sum of money. I mean,
yeah, I don't think that was a
350
moneymaker.
Per. No.
So if you take all of the money that they charge everybody, and you just said, all right, you're a pro, and because you have that pro card, we're going to make this super exclusive. You pay nothing.
Yeah,
you get a pro card, and we're going to lay it down, and we're going to pass that down to all the amateur people. But that's going to create more people like, oh, I want to get my pro card so I can race for free and be a pro. I mean, would that
would be the most logical thing to do?
Yeah,
it should be free.
Yeah.
That's my only point with this is that's why I feel like I'm the because that's why I'm telling Jennifer is like it's ridiculous that you guys charge for this.
Yeah,
I'll continue to pay it because I love triathlon and I want to race at the top level. Like the other question is why if I want to complain about this and I had one of my buddies say is why don't you just go and race amateur against because I like racing pro. I want to I put a lot of time and effort into this sport. I want to race at the top level.
What's another sport, professional sport, where the athlete have to pay to participate?
There is not one.
I mean, is golf that way?
No, there is not one.
Like you don't have.
I bet you there's fees that we just don't. I mean, they're probably
part of the PGA.
Do you have to pay to enter like a NASCAR race or something like that?
So this question was actually brought up, and somebody did look into this. And triathlon is the only sport. Yeah.
See, that's
a-hole
backward.
I'm just thinking about
running was not either. I thought USATF might have a fee. No, not for elite license.
No, not for an elite license. But there's probably road races where you're just like, we don't care if you're pro. You have to pay to be a part of this race.
That's a little different story, though. I think that's
different.
more just like
it's not.
Yeah, it's not a yearly membership to be a pro, though. NASCAR. It's not like NASCAR's charging a pro driver every single year a yearly membership to be a NASCAR pro driver.
Yeah.
The PGA, there's $100 initiation fee and then $100 annual dues.
That's ice cream sandwich,
guys.
And
they need to lower
that.
They lower down to $80.
The guy looked that up was wrong.
It's $100.
Okay, so yeah, $100.
And they don't have to pay.
I'm sure their sponsors cover that too. I'm sure that those guys aren't forking over $100.
They're exempt from paying entry fees on any of their events.
And also, you think about it with golf, is there's technically green fees too, so they're not paying green fees. So yeah, I mean that $100 is like a kick in the bucket for them. Yeah, we're paying $1,250 a year, and
that's
we're not.
According to Google,
and I'm not getting green fees for that.
So again, summarize your question into one concise sentence.
Yeah. Am I being an a-hole by complaining about this? Is my complaining me being an a-hole?
No, I think you did it in a respectful manner. I vote no.
I'm going to agree with Matt. I'm going to say no.
Call me an a-hole, Lance.
Gosh dang it, I agree. No, you weren't.
Hold on, we got to change. We should change.
Evan, you are not the asshole.
Okay, we're 0 for 2.
We're 0 for 2. We need to get. Come on, Lance. Help us out.
Be an a-hole.
I got one if you want to.
I got one that I'm going to say. I think we both.
You got one about me?
I've got one that I know we both do. I know that we both do the one that I'm going to say next.
Okay, so the story I wanted to tell was when I did the cyclocross race last weekend, and I dove bomb a corner to try to get ahead of everybody, and I ended up crashing and taking out half the field. But there is no question I was the a-hole.
You should go with that one. We need a
no. So here's my question.
More. You have something else?
Passing people on a multi-use path. So Here's my take on it.
Okay.
And I want to know if I'm the a-hole for this take, because if I'm riding my bike on a multi-use path where there is joggers and there are walkers and there are yoga pants pushing strollers, and there's
You got something against yoga pants?
no, I'm just saying that there's a lot of yoga pants out there.
There's a lot of
strollers.
us out there.
There's a lot of Matts out there wearing yoga pants.
Okay.
If I'm approaching somebody from the rear, I generally don't announce that I'm coming because most of the time, not most of the time, I've had situations where I'm announcing that I'm coming and they move in the wrong direction.
Absolutely.
And
They
so I
definitely
will
love to do
usually pick a side. I try not to buzz them closely. I try to get by safely, but I will usually pick a side and just go past it. Just go past them.
So I got a couple questions for you, some
Ask
follow-ups
away.
here.
You're the asshole.
Okay. First and foremost, there's two different scenarios that you need to like take into consideration here. A, are you riding by yourself? Or B, are you riding with other people?
Oh, that's true. Good question.
I know why Jake is bringing
Doesn't
this
matter.
up.
You're gonna do the same thing.
I do
anyway.
the same thing either way.
That's the
If
truth.
you're riding by yourself, it's less egregious, still an asshole. If
this
you're
is
riding with
damning.
other people, it's way more egregious and
You're
super
definitely
asshole.
the asshole.
Super asshole.
Because
Jake has actually witnessed this
Oh, yeah.
because he's ridden behind me on the Heritage Trail, and I don't announce I'm coming to anybody because they all move in the wrong direction, and then Jake is
so
apologizing.
imagine like you're flying down whatever, and if you think about things on a microscopic level, like you're moving all these air particles and things are bouncing around and going all over the place. There's all this like movement and all this stuff. Same thing when you go by the people, all of a sudden the people just start going and they start bouncing off each other and they're all over the place. And then all of a sudden I come into that and I'm like, crap, no, I have to almost come to a stop and say, sorry, on your left, and then yada, yada, yada. So there's that. But if you're in any situation, is there a reason why you can't slow down?
Oh yeah,
Because I don't want to.
I do slow down
Going
quite
for
often,
KOM, man.
but
No,
not always.
How much do you slow down?
But you
to,
slow
though?
down so that you can aim to really brush them right on the shot. I mean, we're talking the safest brushing you can do.
No, I really don't
Fear
want
of
to
God.
scare the heck out of people, but
you're
some
nicer
people
than
are
me.
just jumpy. But
Here's
There are-
the thing, though, is if you're...
they're reacting and they jump and they're just
Yes.
jumping.
Yeah.
What about the people that are like horizontally stacked three ways? I feel like everybody's annoyed by those people that just
Yes.
don't understand
That
spacing
Here's the thing.
in the world.
As a cyclist, we have a voice, or we have a bell, or we've got some sort of way to,
Or a loud machine coming your way.
alert them that we're coming. I'm coming on your left.
Yeah.
And if they can't know their left from their right, then that's bad on them, and that kind of sucks. Because we've all dealt with those people. You say on your left, and they go to their left. You're like, you're a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
You're the
Isn't
a-hole.
it amazing?
I'm sure I've done that.
Is it
you've
amazing
your brain
to you
is
guys?
off at that point. You're just like, whoa,
Yeah.
get out of the way.
Is it amazing to you guys too how I don't know if it's a hearing issue or just a general sense of the world, but like some people's awareness of like if somebody's coming up behind you, just like
Yeah, it's not there.
oh, it's amazing to me. Just I was like, man, you must have been really bad at sports as
Yeah.
a kid. Like just I mean, like I've noticed on the track too when I'm like running, and Matt probably experienced me all the time when you're running on the track. And then you get that person who's like in the turf field and somehow they don't know you're coming. And there's like,
Yeah.
whoa, they just like fall into lane one. They're like, whoa, where'd you come from? I'm like, this is a track
This is I've
It's
been
people.
running here all
Running
running
now.
here for an hour.
on the track. Just like if you're on a multi-purpose table and a bicyclist comes by you and you lose your mind, you're like, what did you think was happening on
Yeah.
this trail? Like, what?
There's
Right.
a big difference if you come by somebody at like 5 to 7, maybe 8 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And if you come by them at 14, 15, 18,
Yes.
20
That is
miles
a
an
big
hour,
difference.
that's a
20
huge
miles an hour,
difference.
you should never be good. Yeah, 20 miles an hour
But
is a lot to be coming by somebody.
We've been barked at and chirped at before because we'll be
course.
riding down. There's a particular trail that we will do a lot of our warm-ups on, and we're usually kind of cruising, going easy at like 13, 14 miles an hour. And then there's sometimes where we're getting after it. Like we're trying to drop
ripping
each other, and we might be going close to 20 miles an hour, and we're very picky and choosy when we do that. And if we notice that there's a higher volume of people, or it's a time of day, or it's a nice night, or whatever, we'll settle down. We'll just calm it down, and we'll just.
I think
whatever.
that's the only time you guys crest maybe the barrier to asshole. You know,
Yeah.
there's a barrier here. I would say the only time you crest that barrier is if you're going fast and there's really a reason to startle that person. That's the only time.
I usually will try and be the person on point because I will always make sure that I get some sort of visual connection with the people to see like, yes, I acknowledge that you're coming, or I'm going
On
to
your left.
turn or whatever. And the ones that absolutely drive me bonkers are the people that are on the trail walking dead in the middle and they've got their
Headphones.
earphones in. And then those people, maybe that's where,
Buzz 'em.
am I the a-hole? Do I buzz those people?
Oh, don't buzz people.
Buzz them.
But you're walking in the middle of the
You're
trail
walking
with
right in the middle
headphones
of the
blaring,
multi-use
and I've
trail.
rung my bell
do it.
14 times. I've yelled, and I come around you, like crawling around you, you jump out of your skin because I'm the person that just came around you, and you didn't know that I was there. I'm like,
There's a difference between coming around them and buzzing them.
but if I'm not coming around them at like 20 miles an hour, but if I'm riding by you at like
What's the
6 or 7
running
miles an hour,
threshold?
and just like
If
I'm
they, like,
shaking my
What's the
if they
running
jump in
version
for-
of this, Matt?
Oh,
Because you've
this-
probably
this
done
is-
this running wise.
Yeah, 100%.
I do this running wise
you
all the time.
So single
love-
track trail, and someone has headphones on, and they are walking, and they think they're the fastest person on the trail. I don't know.
I
Very
will run
frustrating.
1 centimeter from their right shoulder just to make sure that they
that's
are like
asshole.
scared to death.
Asshole.
Absolutely.
Asshole.
I try to scare them.
just be thankful I didn't shoulder check you into the bushes. I'll play
Lance
hockey
is-
with you, put you in the boards.
Lance is actually the nice one here. I feel like I'm the a-hole with how I handle this situation.
Here's what I think. I think this is no one's gonna like this answer, especially on this podcast. You should slow
hear it.
down to their pace.
Never.
No.
Then make sure
Let's
that
spit
you're
on that.
heard, and then go around them. If they have headphones on and stuff
Can
like
I
that,
kick them as I go by them, though?
99 times out of
What's a
100,
light brush?
the people are going to hear you. They're going to acknowledge you. They're going to get over out of the way. They might not like you. You get a lot of stink eye. That happens all the time. They're like, look at that cyclist. And
I had someone yell at me recently. Same exact situation. She was just like, "You have to say on your left," and I was like, "I'm sorry. I will try to do that in the future. Just move on."
Yeah.
Right.
there's no rule that says you have to do that, but
Well-
it's common courtesy. Yes, that's etiquette. Buzzing them though, and not announcing yourself at all, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I understand your thought process there, but I think that on the whole, like that's going to give cyclists a bad name, and that's going to make people a little bit more angry at cyclists. And that person's probably going to get in a car and say, "Those damn cyclists! They're always messing with me, and they're holding me up in my car in
they're
traffic.
a-holes.
They're a-holes, and they're buzzing me on the trails, and I'm going to get after them." So I'm always going to try and put my best foot forward with them. And I'm always going to try and do the right thing. It's that one person though that does sit in the middle of the trail and like you're like literally like yelling at the top of your lungs on your left or
Yeah, I
ringing
know.
your bell, and they're just like,
They're not going to hear it.
yeah,
Here's the thing: like, if you can't get by them without like buzzing them, then that's on them, right? And if they jump out of their skin, that's on them. For they're got their headphones on, they're not listening.
yeah.
But it's when you buzz them on purpose where I think, come on, if you could have gone and figured out a way to make more
Well,
room,
I'm just going
then
around.
do that.
I'm not buzzing them. I'm not trying to like.
Well,
you know,
Evan is.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
on a bike, though, I will not do that.
Yeah.
On a bike, I definitely don't. No.
So, but for me in a group, for sure, like I need to get their full attention because I don't want them to jump and go the wrong way. And then
And
if
everyone's going
there's
down.
sometimes where we might be riding down this one trail that I'm talking about. There
Yep.
might be 20 people behind me, and I will always get their attention to say, "There's a lot of us back there. I'm sorry. You know, we're going to come by you and whatever, and we'll do our best." But
When that happens and I'm in the line behind you, I even say as I go past a person, "There's 8 more behind me."
Yeah. And thank you very much. Just be super respectful.
Yeah.
But you know, to go back to your question of like, are you the a-hole? What do you guys think
Yes. 100%.
for not announcing yourself?
Lance, you are, but I would be that a-hole
But you agree.
right there with you.
Oh,
yeah.
this is the same answer.
I would buzz them on
Yes.
the other side of their shoulder with you.
If there's room, I don't buzz them.
I
But
would say we
I
buzz
quit
them.
announcing myself.
I know.
When I'm by myself, I quit announcing myself
I just
because
don't-
it just.
Oh, you just maybe took my next one. I have another one of this.
I think
similar vein.
I think it's like we're all. I would say I'm very guilty of the same situation, but yeah, we're the assholes.
we probably just need
in
to
that
look at
situation.
the bell dinghies. The bell
The bell
dinghies.
dinghies, yeah, the bell
dinghies
thing.
are wonderful.
It almost makes me laugh though because I've been with Lance so many times that he's done this.
You've seen him
and
do
I'm
it so many
behind him.
times.
He, for whatever reason, he's like that dog chasing a tennis ball, and he's just flying down the trail, and he doesn't care about these people. He goes buzzing them, not thinking about like, or he probably does. He probably sees comedy in this. He's like, "Oh, Jake gets to deal with this now."
Yeah, exactly.
And I've had so many people that I've had to say, "I am so sorry." They're like, "You guys need to slow down." I know.
I'm possibly doing it just to annoy Jake. Oh, Jake's back there.
There is-
Watch this.
There is nothing funnier than the 50-something-year-old guy who gets mad about that and is like, "You guys need to slow." It's like, shut up, man. My God.
We've got a teammate that you know, obviously he knows who we are, and
Yeah.
then we are always wearing a particular kit, and we have this teammate that knows a guy that's using said trail, and he's like, "You need to talk to these guys. I know that you know them because I saw the kit that they're wearing. They're riding recklessly on these trails. They're going way too fast. Last night they were and like all these things." I'm like, that's funny. Let me go back and look at my GoPro footage, and I can correspond that to my GPS.
And you know which guy it
And-
is.
well, I knew exactly what it was. I took a picture of him and I sent it to my friend. I'm like, "Is this the guy?" He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." At that point in time, we were and you could see the video that we're far right, he's far left, and we were going something like 8 or 9 miles an hour. Not a big deal.
Is it some small funny justice too when you think of like the guy that's going to get super mad about that is probably the same guy who hops in his car and loves to buzz cyclists and scare them to death.
And then we're always holding him up and we're always
like
breaking the law and we're all criminals. And
he's
like,
that
hey,
guy. Walkers suck, man. You need to walk faster. Why aren't you walking 22 miles an hour? Come on.
So it's just
You're
funny.
slowing up our ride.
And on that trail, I purposefully, every single time, I
go way wide.
I go wide, but I'm always running my GoPro just in case there is ever a situation or a scenario that somebody's going to say something.
Yeah.
And that was one time that I got to use it. And I could show you the footage of us riding by. I can show you exactly how fast we were going. I can give you all of the data in the matrix so that you can go back to your friend and say,
this is why I never ride on bike trails.
9 miles an hour when you're walking 2 or 3 miles an hour and someone comes by you at 9. It's a big difference. I mean, you see it like with
even running by. I know people get startled and mad at me running by them, which is almost comical with the running.
Actually, you're
running 10 miles an hour.
9 miles an hour. I mean, that's exactly what you're doing. Yeah.
But
so,
when you make it sound like we're riding reckless, it might sound like a lot, but when you get it out there, and it's not that big of a deal.
That's not reckless.
Has anybody
but 20 miles an hour
Has anybody ever been to
100%. If we were riding 20 miles an hour, cutting corners, blind corners.
But still, this is such a cultural thing. I mean, like, I'm not trying to say like, when I was, but I mean, like, really, when I lived in East Asia for a little bit, especially when I was in India, nobody complained.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, buddy? Like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, walk faster or get off the road. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like this,
like you're gonna get buzzed.
People are buzzing on rickshaws at 40 miles an hour by people walking all the time, and you never hear an Indian guy complaining about it.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
like
here you got the 52-year-old who's just like entitled to the whole world and is like, everybody needs to be walking at 3 miles an hour and announce themselves, so I have 30 seconds to prepare for this moment.
Yeah.
Like, all right, buddy. Well, just stay at home. Stay at home.
He should not go to Europe. He should not go to India.
Get that seatbelt buckle on your couch. Be nice and safe there. And just don't leave home. Okay. Yeah. Because it's a scary world out there.
Yeah. So I just
go on a trip to another country.
I just caution, be careful. It could be just one person. I feel you're like, I'm just going to go by this person quiet. Maybe they get startled and they step into the line of fire.
I've had that happen, and I've had that happen to friends of mine.
Yeah.
Who just announced the person. As they announced, they moved the wrong way. Collision.
I agree.
Broken collarbone.
My new thing is I seriously just go all the way down to like 3 miles an hour. Try to make like almost a conversation with them, and then they're like, "Oh, we're sorry," and I'm like, "I don't care. I'm not in a rush." Like that's the conversation I have 10 times per day when I'm,
But if I'm on the Marine Drive bike path where you can cruise at like 23 miles an hour with the wind and somebody's walking in the dead center of the path, I mean, I'm going to get as far away as I can from them when I go by, but
if you went from 20 miles an hour, slowed down to 3 miles an hour, said, hope you're enjoying the weather today, blah, blah, blah.
Your voice is going to carry, and you're going to be able to announce, like, hey, come bike on your back, or bike back, right or along your left, or whatever. Like, you're going to get some sort of, like, connection with them. But if you don't, then, you probably should slow down. I don't know if it necessarily needs to be 3 miles an hour, but to get around them safely, what is a safe speed? I don't know. Maybe we need to go out and test that out.
I don't know.
Because we do technically have to yield to a pedestrian, even though we're considered a pedestrian when we're on the sidewalk. But I think that because we're going at a high rate of speed, we still need to, be mindful of them. Crazy. So run around the table.
Oh, yeah, I said yes. Right from the beginning, I said
Lance
yes.
is an a-hole, I'm sorry.
When Lance started talking, I was like, yes, you're the a-hole.
1 for 3. There you go, Lance.
1 out of 3. That ain't bad.
Yeah, Lance, there's some comedy in there. I can appreciate a good little sense of humor there. And I think that his thought process has some merit to it, but on the whole, asshole.
I'll take it. Proudly.
Wear it proud.
All right, my question real quick. We got to get through this because this is turning into a long one.
Oh,
of course.
We know that I like to ride with cameras on my bike for all kinds of reasons, and it's kind of fun to go back and look at stuff. And there are some times where I'm riding on my mountain bike or my gravel bike, and there are certain parks that I like to ride through, and I run across these people all the time, especially in the summer. People with dogs off leash when it blatantly says your dog must be on the leash, and they are blatantly breaking the rules because these signs are posted everywhere, and how you not see them, I don't know.
I thought he was going to say he goes through these parks with his cameras and catches people having sex.
That was where I thought this was going to be going. And I thought he was going to interrupt that and be like, you're the a-hole.
And then he shares it on Reddit.
Is the sidebar?
That's a whole podcast sidebar.
I wasn't riding with the
If you
GoPro.
were to do that, though, would you be an a-hole?
I was not
Where's your
riding
mind?
with the
Where's my
GoPro
mind?
this one time. Okay. I have a buddy of mine. He comes up to visit me from Southern California. This was probably 6 months after we moved here. I'm taking him through the local park, and there's a trail down past Lower River Falls or whatever it is that's going down to 3rd Street.
Yep.
And we're riding on there, and you frequently see people walking with their families down there. We're riding back up, and we come across a guy taking pictures of a young woman who's probably 20 years old on this big log, and she is 100% naked on this log doing a photo session with this old pervy guy.
Old guy.
Older guy.
What's the
Old
difference?
white
Age
hair,
difference.
old white hair, ponytail, white.
Lance, you had a
Photo.
ponytail back then?
60 some?
Probably 60-something. Girl is young.
20.
She's beautiful and 100% naked. My buddy looks over and goes, "What the heck, dude? Is this the norm for up here?" I'm just like shrug, shoulders, hands up. I'm like, I have no idea. Sorry you saw that. Sorry, but not sorry. Whatever. And so we keep riding, and
What
we
the heck?
rode past a couple of families. There was a mom walking with 2 kids. We're like, your son who's like 11, 10, somewhere in there's probably getting close to puberty. We're thinking about ourselves like
he needs to run ahead.
Yeah.
this might.
There's something really cool in a log up there. You need to run up the head bud right now.
But we did tell the mom,
Go
like,
quick.
there's a gentleman up there doing some photography that your kids might not want to see. And she's like, "Oh, okay." And she turned around and walked the other direction. And there was a couple other people and were like, "I'm not going to say anything to that person. I want to see him."
Right?
Is the photographer an
You've
a-hole
seen a
for
20.
doing this in a public park?
Yes. There's so many places you could have
Of
gone.
course he is. Yeah, that's
But
Matt. Please devil's advocate this.
There are
somehow.
there are
Okay,
definitely
let's hear it,
other
Matt.
trails that he could have gone and found a similar situation and not have access to the whole world out there.
Now, the naked body is a beautiful thing, Jake.
I'm
Come
not saying
on.
it's not.
Here, let me send you a picture.
I have a beautiful picture of myself.
I'm not saying it's not. Let me bring up the 20 pictures I took from that.
Let me send you a picture of myself on a log.
He sent me the pictures actually.
Yeah.
Well, this is my little side question. This isn't even my actual question,
Okay.
but is that guy the a-hole?
Yeah.
Am I the a-hole for screwing or like
You're
squandering the little like
You're the
11,
a-hole
12-year-old?
for that poor 11-year-old guy.
Yeah,
that
no,
way.
It's just about to
Jake
change his
is-
life.
Jake
Yeah.
is the a-hole.
His life.
That kid was about to, see something that's very important to a young boy at the first in the first portion.
I can't believe you. Can't believe you, Jake.
All right, let me get back to my real question
All right, what's
here.
the real
But that is an honest question. My buddy Arlo can attest to that because he, I don't know if he blushed a little bit, but he definitely thought that was abnormal. And he's like, is that what you guys up here doing? Like
what
near
we
to
do.
Portland? Is that the norm?
Portland's weird.
All right. So anyway, I like to ride with cameras on my bike. We all know this, and I post pictures of it all the time. And sometimes I'll have 360 cameras, GoPros, all this stuff. Anyway, I'm riding through the park all the time, and I see these people walking their dogs off leash all of the time. And you can take some really nice high res pictures of these people and their dog off camera. I have on a couple of occasions in my Strava posts will publicly shame them a little bit and post a picture of them and their dog and say, "Hey, here's the," no joke, like 7 people I ran across today that were in the park with their dogs off leash. And there's quite a few times that I'll run across these people where you're grabbing brake because the dog is coming up and you're almost going to hit the dog. So you don't want to hurt the dog, and then you don't want to go flying over the bars because somebody had their dog off of leash. I know plenty of people, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have probably had this happen to them that have actually had an encounter where they hit the dog, or they, ran into something because of the dog trying to avoid, and they get hurt. Am I an a-hole for publicly shaming these people?
Let me ask you this, and this is my answers can be yes, you're the a-hole for publicly shaming. But
Okay.
if this was you and your dog, and you were walking your dog off leash, what would you prefer the cyclist do? Stop and tell you like, "Hey, you should leash up your dog," or would you prefer them to take a picture of you and post it online?
Oh, shame me, baby. If I'm being egregious,
you would prefer to be shamed
because
as opposed to being preferred to being told.
I think he
Well,
said
if somebody comes up and asks me to do it,
the rules though.
yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody came up and asked me and told me and I just didn't know better, then yeah, maybe you have a point there. But odds are they know because there's signs posted all over the place that you're not supposed to do that. And is it going to change my behavior more if I am asked, "Hey, can you put your dog back on leash? Those are the rules," or being shamed and be like, "Oh, bad on you for doing that"? It's probably going to change my behavior, and it's an a-hole move. You probably shouldn't do that.
Disagree with that, actually, because their behavior is more likely to change if they see themselves online.
Yeah, like
breaking a rule.
Yeah,
That's true. This is 2020.
That doesn't mean that you're not the a-hole.
Yeah,
because I still think that you would prefer for someone to be like, I'd prefer for, Evan to just tell me like, hey, put your dog on the leash, as opposed to him just posting a picture of me online doing something dumb. Not that, but the latter would change my behavior more.
Here's the thing: in that park, that is the normal for people to let their dogs run off leash, and not every dog is super well behaved like a Piper. Or my dog, if I snap my fingers, if I whistle, or if he's got his Garmin collar on him where I can push a button and it beeps and he comes back, he's going to listen. He's not going to go get in somebody's face. But there are too many people that think that their dog's S don't stink, and they'll just let that dog go do whatever that dog wants to do because that's their little pride and joy.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous for most runners.
And that can become an issue. And then there are people with sincere phobias and fears of dogs, and that dog is going to run up and start jumping on them. That's a problem too. And I think
people need to take. I mean, people do not respect that dogs are wild animals enough.
Yeah.
And the problem with 2020 is everybody got a dog, and everybody now's a dog owner, and it's
I've come across dogs that don't like moving objects, and they're going to go chase you, and they're going to try and nip
chase
you.
into the spokes. Yeah, exactly.
So there's too many situations, and all of the time, every time I'm back there, I'll say, you need to put your dog on a leash. The rule is you need to keep your dog needs to be on a leash. You got to put your dog. I say that all the time. It just falls on deaf ears. Yeah. And so it got to the point where I'm like, all right, this has happened too many times, and it's different people all the time. So if it was the same person, maybe, but it's not. It's different people all the time.
Yeah. To go off of yours defending you for being a-hole, because I was going to say a-hole, but actually to defend you on this is I did have a buddy who a dog ran into his front wheel.
Yeah.
And my buddy flipped over.
Sure.
At a pretty high speed.
Super dangerous.
Concussion bad, got up in a rage.
Yeah.
And the guy was coming up yelling at him for hitting his dog.
Yeah.
Now, what this guy did not know is this guy was military. And came up in red. I mean, he just had a concussion, ran up and shoved this guy so hard, he literally shoved him off the trail. And this guy falls and some old, guy or whatever, falls on his hip. Is like, oh, you broke my hip, or he didn't break his hip or whatever. Yeah. That's where I would say, you know what? It's sure if most people are maybe not doing it on purpose, but if you're that guy who literally your dog was going to maybe kill somebody because he was going fast enough, he could have died. Let's say he hits in cervical fractures and kills him. His dog accidentally killed him. It's like, if somebody comes to punch you in the face, then it was like, hey, that's on you, buddy. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you another question. Let's say that you see that post and you're frequently letting your dog off, and you're like, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. Yeah, I mean, I don't want Jake to publicly shame me. That's not where your mind is. It was like, maybe I need to keep my dog on leash, and back up some of these pictures with why I'm publicly shaming you. Lance was with me. We were doing a ride out on the Washougal Dike one night, and it was a night ride, and we were going 23, 24, 25 miles an hour.
And it was a group of
a lot of
four of us.
And this dog was off leash with his owner. It's nighttime. There's the guy doesn't have any kind of lighted device on the dog. Dog runs up.
That's scary.
And everybody just goes all the different ways.
We all grabbed brake, all skidded to a stop.
And
Jake.
I couldn't react. I hit the dog with my front tire, and the dog screams, and I was able to keep the bike upright.
How did you keep your bike up?
It's just lots of mountain biking.
Yeah, mountain biking,
Went over the dog, ran him over, and Lance narrowly missed him from being behind me.
Yeah.
And had I gone down, that could have been the end of my shoulder.
Yeah.
It could have been shoulder replacement surgery, and all of a sudden, you know what? That guy is liable because
this is what people don't get is that whatever your dog does, it's on you, buddy. Yeah, that's and I love the people who are going to run up to you and be like, I can't believe you hit my dog. You're like, really? Are we about to? It was like, buddy, you're lucky that somebody's not hitting you right now.
So what if you change the whole paradigm behind this, saying hey, all of these pictures of all these people with their dogs off leash, I'm not shaming them, but this is a public service announcement. So if you paint that picture, change the narrative a little bit more, are you still an a-hole in terms of how you convey this?
Did you blur their face out?
No.
Yeah, I think you're still the a-hole officially.
Okay.
Unofficially, I think there's some nuance to this.
We have an official and unofficial on the a-hole rating.
Everything can be nuanced.
The nuance is you see someone, you ask them to put their dog on the leash, you see them the next time, same situation, which would happen.
Oh, yeah.
Which I guarantee you would happen. Then you're like, well, screw that. I'm posting this picture, obviously, and anywhere I can. Hopefully this guy sees it, Then you're less of an asshole because it's round 2 and they're still not learning, and we want to educate. We're trying.
Okay.
We're trying here. That's my take on it. I think it's, a lot of these situations that we're going over is maybe we're the asshole a little bit, but that's life. I mean, it's just the situation is what it is.
Kind of agree with the reason for it as it goes. Yeah. I don't think you're the a-hole for doing that because It's so much of a safety issue. Of course, I have a dog that hates the leash, loves to be off leash, but I'm very picky about where I let her roam off leash.
Yeah.
And public parks where they're busy, no, I don't do it.
What about a beach?
Yeah. Beach, of course.
Didn't we just talk about this?
Yeah, we were just talking about this.
Pre-recording, we were talking about
I only
beach.
take my dog into places where I know the signs say that I'm allowed to have them off leash, unless it's in Southern California.
But the thing is, my dog isn't interested in people or bikes or other dogs. She's only interested in birds and squirrels.
Yeah.
And so she will just...
Specifically endangered
Now,
birds.
would she run in front of a cyclist not knowing,
watch out.
trying
And
to chase a bird or a squirrel?
Yes, she could.
Okay, so
that's why I
bad.
pick places where
You're in the middle of nowhere.
there's not cyclists.
Okay.
What about someone that's, deathly afraid of dogs? That could, I know Piper's just not that interested in people.
And she might run by you, but she won't.
That could scare someone.
Yeah, it could scare somebody, of course.
I mean,
but as long as the dog's not coming up. I mean, like, if you're
know.
that scared of
I
dogs,
know.
that even just, you're like,
I get it.
Well,
Like,
if you're on a multi-purpose trail and you have a deathly fear of dogs, probably not your greatest choice for, like, being somewhere.
Okay, so Lance,
I mean?
what is your final
the
answer?
beach?
No.
No, Matt, your final answer?
I just want to
Yes.
go to a dog beach.
Okay,
No.
no.
Asshole. No.
Survey says no.
Not
No.
an
Jake is not an
a-hole.
asshole. Woo! I'm gonna publicly shame the crap out of these people.
One out of four.
Own you.
I'm for sure
Okay.
taking our new dog off trail on this specific trail.
about
so I can
wherever
end up on
Jake
this and be
is?
like,
Just-
screw you, Jake.
One little tangent
Post-
to
go
this.
ahead,
Just
post my picture.
Just a real quick question. I use my camera on the road all the time. If I catch a driver behaving badly and I was somehow able to get a picture of their face, say with the 360 camera where I can actually get a side view and get them egregiously doing something like talking on a phone or flipping me off or rolling coal, and I post a picture, is that
No, that's
would that
fine.
does that
Do
change your
all
mind?
day.
By my standard rule book, you should still, it's the same situation. Like you should warn the person.
I can't
or-
warn somebody that's rolling coal on me at 40 miles an hour and never going to catch up to him again.
Also, they don't care.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right.
I think-
I
yeah.
could change your mind, but I guess not.
This is the fine line of like,
There's the letter of the law and the
there's
spirit of the law.
There's the right thing to do, and then there's the thing that we would all do.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
I mean,
well,
honestly, you think I wouldn't post that picture? Oh, I'd be posting it, and
I'd make a YouTube
I'd be
video about it.
YouTube video. How many people can we get?
1 million views.
Hopefully, someone knows this guy,
Right,
and
right.
it's hopefully his mom sees it, and it's just like I'm embarrassed about him rolling coal.
Gotcha. Cool. All right, let's jump into one last thing because we need to wrap this thing up. We're going to go very quickly. Matt, you can go first.
I posted a video on, I don't remember which day it was, two new Koros watches. Check it out. The Wahoo Roam video is coming up next because I keep saying that it's coming up next. And the good news is they just last week announced the Summit Segments feature on Wahoo.
Yep.
That will be coming to the Bolt 2, if you have that. It'll be coming to the old Roam and the current new version 2 Roam. All of that's going to get the Summit Segments feature. Basically, it's Hill Climber or Climb Pro or whatever you want to call it. And it's good. And I want to make sure that we are clear. Actually, here's an a-hole move just by me. Ian Boswell was incorrect. I knew as soon as he said it, but I didn't want to correct him because I like.
What was
Ian.
it? What was it?
He just said like that you don't have to have a planned route.
You do. Yep.
Yeah, you do. But we should. I mean, I knew when he said that it was wrong. I just didn't want to correct him on the on air.
Cycling news. Matt LeGrand
From the Arizona
huge
Emissions
sensation,
Department.
calls out.
Yeah, Ian Boswell.
Ian Boswell.
I think he's nice, but like I think that we should preface it all by what he said, which was like, I'm not a tech person. I don't do all this tech stuff.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
But so he's going to get some of that information wrong.
Yep.
I think that's fair. I just don't want
Yeah,
people
the
to
only one
think
that does that is Hammerhead, correct?
Hammerhead's the only one. Garmin and Wahoo, similarly, you have to plan
have a route.
planned route programmed in
Yeah.
so that it'll tell you where the hill is, where it's coming up, what numbered hill you are on overall in your ride. Whereas the Hammerhead will just figure it out, which is kind of cool.
That's very cool, actually. I think
Yes,
that
it is
of
very cool.
Garmin and Wahoo who would be the next one that would follow suit and stand in line with Hammerhead as being the only ones that offer that.
I think potentially Garmin would be the next person
You think so?
that would figure it out. Yeah,
Because
because
they're a
I
little
don't
bit slow with their stuff, though. I mean, it's just
extremely slow.
yeah,
They are very slow, but they beat Wahoo to it by a year.
true.
So
Not even more. Well, it's
Probably
they've
more.
had it for a lot longer than that, if I'm not mistaken. But
2
anyway,
years?
cool. Evan's got to get out of here, so I'm going to let him do his one last thing.
oh yeah, we got
Last thing. I really got like nothing. God, hopefully we get some sun this weekend because I want to ride outside. I'm tired of the trainer.
Okay.
Last thing.
It's not coming.
All right, Evan, thank you, sir. Lance, you got one last thing for us?
One last thing. The cyclocross race this weekend is at a new site where Cyclocross Crusade has never been. It's called Fernwood Quarry. I believe it's in Molalla. Oregon.
Yep.
So, come out and race your bike. It should be a ton of fun. I am leaving the country. I'm ditching this place, and I'm not sure I will even be able to call in for the next 4 weeks.
We'll figure something
So
out.
we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll only be 3 weeks.
We'll just play recorded clips of you.
Okay, perfect.
You'll be fine.
I don't really have one last thing either, other than I talked about this last week, but we've got the Michael Myers Memorial Time Trial.
Oh, how are you guys doing?
Well,
on your
not
plank
time trial. I'm
challenge?
sorry, the Michael Myers Memorial Ride that's coming up. But what?
Plank challenge. That can be
yes.
one last thing.
That's my one last thing. Thank you, Matt. I meant to talk about that in the back pedal, and I just didn't get to that. I'm spot on.
You're on.
I'm on with the hydration. I'm hitting 100 ounces. I've hit 100 ounces every single day, and I've been to the bathroom 5 million times. I've been doing all of my planks. I've been actually adding, I think
a little bit onto it.
It was more than 10%. It was probably like 10 or 15 seconds to each one of them. So
Oh, wow.
I think, what's this morning, like 50 seconds or something like that, or
Haven't
today?
done it.
I don't know. I've only done it one day. I have failed miserably.
I've done it every day except for when I went to the state meet, which was 2 days. So I missed 2 days.
Okay.
So you're
well,
winning.
I'm going to say
won this.
I'm going to say that you guys can catch up if you want. You've just got to
Oh,
you
just
got to
catch-
double up.
just
You
do
got to
it?
do
Yeah,
whatever
I
it
can
was
do
that you missed the same day.
I thought
same
about
day.
doing that.
So
catching
you caught
up.
And then I've tracked all my foods too. So
Good job.
Yeah.
I have not done that.
I've done that one day. So,
Really?
I need to
I'm
step it up too.
Not-
Party of one
On
here,
your
Cole.
cruise, you should not be tracking your food.
No,
Or
you
your
should
weight.
just for the comedy.
I should.
Come on, dude.
What? You ate 5,000 calories today? And
How
that's
many
beautiful.
cheesecakes did you eat last night,
I
Hepler?
ate all of them. They were free.
Not vegan though. Are you going to stay to your vegan diet?
For the most part, probably.
When you say most part,
Like I might have some butter or cream.
okay.
But I still will avoid
Even like
eating cheese.
seafood, like you're not going to eat some Alaskan crab legs or something like that.
Well, we're not in Alaska. We're in, the Mediterranean. So
You had
the Greek Sea. So I
You're
don't know.
going to be fed by a 5-star chef, and you're
We
going to
will
be
be.
eating asparagus and like croissants or something like that.
At this conference I went to, there was like a 5-star chef who cooked for us one night, and they brought out big,
You're like-
juicy, medium rare steaks, and I had grilled cauliflower.
You're like, you got any Brussels sprouts back there?
I'm like, do you guys have? Well, they had a vegan option because
Yeah.
of course,
Sure.
there's 150 people there, and there were probably 30 of us who were plant based. So it's just way more popular than it used to be.
All right. We will be back next week. Lance, maybe not, but we'll be back next week with another podcast. And until then, bye for now.